We are the Guinea Pig Collective. All will be assimilated. Resistance is futile.
Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome back to another Going Old School Retro Discussions. It's always good to see everybody is in the chat already. And what's going on, Jens?
Yeah, sorry. I don't matter a lot. I was saying, like, I wasn't feeling too good last week and that, but you weren't there, were you? So, like, both sort of had a sickie sort of last week.
I know it's been going around. There's been a lot of people who've been getting sick or getting hurt or whatever. I mean, I was suffering through an Achilles tendon injury last week and couldn't really walk around, wasn't going to sit at the computer. Vinny has been sick because he's had the coof. You've been sick. I mean, everybody's been having problems lately. This year has really just started off with flying colors, really.
Yeah, I wasn't too sick, but I had one of them headaches where like, I didn't even do any of my streams. It was like you can't do streaming when you got an headache.
No, absolutely not. And what's going on? E-Tip.
Hey, bro. Hey, I'm finishing dinner. I got a mouthful of food.
All right. We'll get back to. We're going to say hello to everybody in the chat right now. So what's going on? RR Guinea Pig Power. Yeah, Rorschach is the pig on the run. He is on the pig on the run. I caught him. It took me over 20 minutes after cleaning the gauge. So I figure, okay, I'll let the young guys run around for a little bit. Helmet was absolutely perfect. He was so good, he didn't move. Rorschach ran around the entire house and then wanted to play hide and seek with me in between the couch and one of the table shelves that we have. Absolutely ridiculous. Lasso of Truth, what's going on? Welcome. The lovely Sherry is in the house. How are you doing, Sherry? Hope you are well. Luffy is God. What's going on, Luffy? Keely Chow is here. That shouldn't be no surprise to anybody because Keely Chow is everybody. What's going on, Wookie? My favorite Wookie. And Darius. Sub. Always good to see Darius in the house. Darius is always stopping by so many different people's channels. You know what? Make sure that you put your link in the chat, Darius, or we're going to nibble off your toes. And we got Tony with us. What's going on, Tony?
What's up, everybody? Hope everyone's having a wonderful start to their week. It's good to be here. Thank you for having me, and hail everyone on the panel.
Oh, man. It's a pleasure to have you here. I mean, I've been wanting to get you on at the same time with ETEP for a while, too. Eventually, hopefully, Adam will be joining us, too. I actually sent a couple other invites out. Whether they show up or not, who knows? It's just one of those things.
I don't know who Adam is. No.
And ETEP, give us a proper intro, brother.
It is I, it is he, it is me, P-double-D, ETEP with Queen from the Place to Be Reviews. Right back here with all of yous. Over here with Tommy and the Guinea Pig Collective. Just trying to keep my feet off the floor so I don't lose any toes. I'm just hanging out with a couple of my buddies, you know, Hillbilly and Hulk Hogan and Macho Man. We're just kind of kicking it right now.
Awesome. Oh, I got a perfect clip prepared for this moment.
Such heroic nonsense.
Oh, dude, it never gets better than Frank Welker and Megatron, dude.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. it's such wondrous times too, watching all those things and watching that movie. I
Oh,
still
God.
watch that movie, but
Same. I got to introduce my son to it, and now he's hooked on that song "The Touch" by Stan Bush. So
my wife absolutely hates that soundtrack.
it's an amazing soundtrack.
I'll be the asshole to just get that one scene and then just keep hitting the reverse button and keep replaying it.
Yep. Oh yeah.
But I know we're here to talk about some wrestling and some of the wrestling merchandise that it actually inspired. I mean, what was your like first experience with wrestling? I mean, I know we'll start with you, ETEP, since you were actually on the indie circuit. So, what was your first introduction to it?
My mom setting me down in the living room and putting on I can't remember. It was like it was about 1983, and it was like Hogan. I want to say it was either Hogan or Bob Backlund and the Sheik. I want to say. I know it was the Sheik because I remembered his curly ass shoes. You know, his wrestling boots. And I always thought that was so funny. But yeah, I remember watching on TV and just immediately being enthralled with it. And by the time I was like 6 or 7, you know, I've been watching for 3-4 years at this point. I'd been to a couple like WWF house shows, and I never got to go see, like, my favorite was the Southern, like Memphis and stuff like that I had to see on like satellite. And I've always been a huge fan of it. I mean, until around like 2014, where it kind of just lost me. You know, I haven't watched steady since before that, as I've got my chubby co-host here with me. The Wookiee jumped up on my lap, but
it's not going to do the earthquake pounce, right?
He tries to. He's about 27 pounds, so if he jumps on anything in here, he's going to cause some havoc.
I was taking some notes. I'm like, who are you calling chubby, man?
This one. He's so not impressed right now. But no, so I actually have like the LJN ring that I got. I was 4. I think it was Christmas when I was 4. Because I think that these guys came out, these big guys, it was like 83 or 84 when they started releasing the LJN like bendable figures, you know. And I didn't get any of these that Christmas. I got the ring, and I have them here, and I have their pants and their belts somewhere in a box of toys. But these two right here, which are the last 2 Remco figures I have, Hawk and Animal, the Road Warriors, who are one of my favorite teams of all time. But yeah, I got these for Christmas. It was 85. I got these in the ring, and I played my Masters of the Universe immediately became wrestlers. You know, they were in the ring. The G.I. Joes, the Star Wars guys, they were all in the ring. And yeah, like a couple years later, I have these 2, Hillbilly Jim, and I sold Junkyard Dog, which breaks my heart. But I had him complete with the chain. Like Hillbilly's got his little hat, because they all had like little. Like Hillbilly's got his hat. I got like $50 for Junkyard. He was very played with, but you know, so I sold him because I was buying Star Wars toys. But yeah, and I have like some of the thumb wrestlers too. I'll show those. I got a few wrestling figures down here that I have left, but I never got rid of the ring. I still have my ring, which it needs some fixing up, which I plan on doing, but it makes a nice wall decoration in here. I take it off of me and the kids still play with it. So
yeah, I found the exact same one sitting over my father's house. I found all the ring posts, but I think I was talking to you about this. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's a good possibility I might have accidentally thrown out the ropes because I thought the way they were all tangled up that it was just an old basketball net, because that's what it looked like, all tangled up. And I was like, it looked like it's a basketball net. And I don't know if I threw it out or not. I'm hoping that I retrieved it in time, but you can never be sure when you're that busy just like going through shit. But,
yeah, dude, for sure. So I actually had 2 of them, and I left one at the house I moved out of on accident. It wasn't my original.
I was going to say, do you still have the ropes on yours?
Yeah, give me just a minute. I'll grab it. I got to go off camera for a minute. It's right here. It's right on the wall here.
Real quick while you're grabbing that. Shadowhawk Backs, what's going on? Welcome, buddy. Yeah, Backlund dropped the belt to the Sheik so the Sheik could drop to Hogan, beginning of Hulkamania. Yep. Absolutely.
Here we go, right here.
Soundtrack more than the coach, and Nick hates the Alabama fight song. Yes. I would think so.
There it is. It's got two of the ropes left on it. We're missing the red one. But yes, I'm gonna order replacement ropes, and I need another set of buckles. So yeah, I'll just order that. But yeah, here it is in all its splendor.
How ridiculous that all the stickers stayed on. You know what? Even the stickers when they made stuff back then, it was so hard to get them off.
You know, and that's the thing. It's like I'm shocked that these all lasted. But dude, there'll never be another WWE logo or WWF logo other than this one for me. That was it. You know what I mean? It's just it's God. Yeah, I miss that, and you know we talked about this before. It's like those were the formative like years watching that. You know, it was. I remember Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling. Like, you know, that made me a Roddy Piper fan.
Yeah, he really didn't get all that much airtime. You know, like he would get like spurts of airtime, and then it would just die out.
Yep. Yeah,
and I think that was one of the.
When he was on there, it was like he was so awesome.
Well, I think that was one of the reasons that they created Piper Pitt, so just so they could give him a little bit more airtime because he had so little of it.
Yeah.
So we'll move over to Tony, and we'll start with you, Tony. What was your first introduction to it?
So, I actually, wrestling has always, like, been a part of my life. I can't tell you the exact moment. I remember watching as a young child and seeing some of the crazy storylines going on and thinking it was real. You know, you're young. My first day of kindergarten, which I still remember vividly. I don't know if I'm supposed to or not, but I said bye to my mom, went into the classroom. I had my backpack with me. And our teacher was bitching at us, like, all these backpacks, you're kindergartners, you need folders. So I guess teachers spoke with their parents before class started something, because I remember I left school after my first day thinking, okay, I need to tell my mom I need a folder. I don't need a backpack. And my mom was there to greet me with the Hulk Hogan folder. And that's what I used my entire kindergarten year in. Jeez. I don't remember exactly when, but see, the good thing about growing up in Las Vegas, yeah, like this clip I have here is from like a year after I started kindergarten. I'm dating myself, but I started kindergarten in 1987. So I'm going to share this screen here. And the Showboat, which it's closed down now. It's probably about 5 minutes from where I live now. This was the convenient thing about growing up in Las Vegas was I had a gambleholic for a grandma. May she rest in peace. But she would she loved to go to the Showboat, so she would take me there and my older siblings, and we would end up going to the AWA shows that they had there. And this was in awesome. AWA's like later years, you know, they weren't far, like, again, this is from May 1988 here. Yeah, so like if and all the way to my buddy's older brothers drawing dicks on our WWF wrestling buddies, on our Macho Man and Hulk Hogan we had. I mean, just wrestling has always been a part of my life. It's hard to name a specific moment that I got into it or that first hooked me, because it's just always kind of been there. So, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I really don't know what my life would be like had I never, you know, I remember when the WrestleMania game first came out, and I remember Honky Tonk Man from when I was real young and just being into him, just being attracted to the Honky Tonk Man for some reason. You know, he just had a certain charisma about him that drew me in as a child. Macho Man Randy Savage and Slim Jim commercials, and it's just always been a thing for me, I guess. You know, it's always been in my somewhere in the peripheral or in my focus, you know.
Well, I think it was right around this time as too when most of these wrestlers really started to become larger than life. I mean, before they were wrestlers, they were bruisers, you know, they were like kind of like the carnival type folk. And at
Yeah.
some point it became mainstream and it became a little bit more acceptable to watch a wrestler, and they were a little bit more of the icons that they started to become later on.
I think that's something Vince doesn't get enough credit for all of his faults and the issues we have with his philosophy of wrestling, or even his insecurities of professional wrestling. Like, he made it more digestible for the normie.
He absolutely did. Well, he was a visionary. I mean, regardless of his faults, the man is a visionary. He put together a company that wound up surpassing any expectations that his father ever had for it to begin with.
Yes. I think
He's
that's
seen
from a video game.
He's seen what every other corporation was doing, every other wrestling corporation, and he included little bits and pieces of that and built his company uniquely in that way that he took all the best elements and then eventually started taking all the best wrestlers.
Yeah. I was going to say, my brother used to tell me that, you know, we first saw Shawn Michaels at the Showboat. I guess I've never really looked it up, but I think that's him right there, maybe. I don't know. Fuck, those were good days, man. There was something about 1980s professional wrestling that just, it hit a little different than any other decade, too.
Oh,
And
yeah, definitely.
Maybe it's because it's like when it first started, you know, like you were saying, getting that mainstream appeal to it and moving out of the smoky, and I like the smoky arenas, you know, but that's also as a wrestling fan, you know, but something about, you know, 93,000 at the Pontiac Silverdome and Aretha Franklin coming out to sing the national anthem and stuff. It just really, it found its place in American society.
It absolutely did. Well said. And now, as far as like any of the merchandise, did you collect a lot of the merchandise too?
So, I've always had some wrestling merchandise. It's just, God, man, I'm not good like you guys. Like, ETEP pulls out all this stuff from his childhood. I don't think I have anything from my childhood, and that's a detriment, you know? I wish I did. I've always had my shirts, and see, I've been looking lately. It's somewhere in storage, but I have like a Stone Cold Steve Austin action figure from 1998, you know? I know it's somewhere in there. I still have possession of it, and little trinkets and things I picked up throughout the years, but like my Hollywood NWO bandana that I got in like 1997. I wish I could show that to you, but I have no clue what happened to the thing, you know?
Don't worry. ETEP will show off for you.
Yeah.
These two are from the late 90s. I'm looking for the exact date on them.
Yeah. Fucking, pardon my French, excuse me.
A second.
God, it was just, I wish I had some, like I said, we had wrestling buddies. I remember it, and nothing crazy. It was just like, you know, I don't remember. It was either Hogan and Savage or Ultimate Warrior and Savage. I think it was Ultimate Warrior and Savage.
Well, I know my brother had the Ultimate Warrior and he had Hogan.
Yeah. And then my buddy's older brothers like took them, his older brother and his older brother's friend took them and drew dicks on them. And then of course my mom wouldn't let us have them after that.
I
That's
can't
cold-blooded.
imagine why. I can't imagine why.
This is 97, 96 and 97. So that's
awesome,
what these
man.
were. Yeah.
The ice cream bars, like getting those, you know, from the Ice Cream Man as a kid. And I mean, just, it's always been there for me, I guess. You know, I know I've said that, but it's always been there. You know, it was kind of etched into Americana by that point.
Well, you probably remember, what was it, 7-Eleven with the Slurpee cups?
Yes.
I still have a bunch of those too. Some of them are actually in really good shape, surprisingly. They're just a little dirty. They just need to be cleaned. But yeah, all the pictures are still there and everything. Real quick, say hi to the rest of the people that popped into the chat. Tina Bojan, what's going on? Welcome. We also have Book of Soul Assassin. What's up, Soul Assassin? Good to see you as always. And I know we had one other person pop in, and we had Fizz Chozo. What's going on? Welcome. I think that's everybody that popped in now. If I missed anybody, I'm so sorry.
I don't remember the year. It was sometime after the new millennium, but it's not like they're that vintage. But we have some SummerSlam, like Slurpee cups from 7-Eleven, because my brother is one of those people, like, he keeps the super big gulp cups, and he can't drink out of anything smaller than that. He's got to fucking fill them all the way up with ice and pour half the orange juice in there, you know? Weird guy. But we have some because of that, because he won't let them go, you know. But I love seeing them, you know. There's a younger Triple H on there, some of those wrestlers. So yeah, I have some paraphernalia, but nothing like Mr. Superfan's collection or E-Tech collection. Yeah,
you don't have Mato's long bong.
I've got something. I've got something nobody else on the panel has. That's a bag full of wrestling gear that I wore in the ring. That's about the only thing I have that nobody else has is a bag full of wrestling gear that, and it doesn't stink. I aired it all out because I've been retired for 5 years, so it literally sits right next to my bed. Like I can get up and just like go to a show. And I was joking around with my wife because the where I used to do the TV tapings, where I ended my career, is like 5 minutes from my house. And I was like, there was a show that day, and I started getting up and around on Saturday morning. I grabbed my bag. She goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm going to work show." She goes, "Oh, I didn't know we were filing for divorce today." I'm like, "I'm not going anywhere, honey. I love you so much. You're so beautiful. I love you."
Smells like the days of going into play it against sports.
You're retiring the spandex.
Yeah, I wore pleather. I had the body to wear the spandex, but not the self-confidence, so I wore Rey Mysterio like pleathers.
Can I ask if your mother-in-law ever find the pleather trunks on the laundry wire in the backyard?
No, but she asked me about my feather boa.
Real quick. RR, Piper was a fantastic talker. Piper's Pit were some of the best wrestling segments to this day.
Yes.
I can't argue that one. Killer Chow, rest in
Rod.
peace, Tony's grandma.
Thank you, bro.
Here,
No,
wait, here.
I've got to add,
Go ahead.
did mother-in-law draw a dick on your boa?
No, she may have called me a dick, but I don't think she drew any. She's not that much of an artist, though. She's more for the spoken word.
I got something for that.
He says that he's an a-hole, but he's not, and I'm quoting him here, 100% a dick.
Here's
Nobody's 100% a dick.
We'll go with the heel hand, heel fingers.
Yeah.
There's Hot Rod, Nikolai, and Big John Stud.
It was funny how a lot of those looked exactly like the bigger LGN figures. Like the Hogan one looked exactly like the LGN figure.
I had a Hogan one, but it was a like rip-off one. So it wasn't really Hogan. It was just a dude with blonde hair and a blonde tash.
See, there we
That's
go. Right
awesome, man. I want to see that.
There they are. They do. They look exactly the same. But they were both made by. They're both LJNs. They're both. I'm pretty. Yeah, they're both LJN made. So
LGN also did the bendables too.
Yeah. Yep. And I had at one time the first run of these, which were from like 89, 90. You remember these? They had like, 90. Some of them 90. Yeah. I never got the ring for these, but I just used them in my big ring. I sold the entire first wave of these to somebody in Australia with the card backs. Shipping them, dude, the guy was super cool. Like he'd bought a set of MASH figures from me. So I was like, you know what, man? I'm like, I'll split shipping with you. And because it was costly. Like American, it was you know what I mean? It was costly. So I did. I split shipping with them.
It's the weight on stuff like that. It's the weight that drives up that price. Real quick, Book of Soul Assassin said, dude, I literally have a box full of old WCW, WWF, and other figures still at my parents' at. In my
Nice.
Nice.
I'll buy those Soul Assassin. Just DM me. I'll buy the entire box.
And RR, Macho, and Ricky Steamboat had some epic matches.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Meticulously planned step by step.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. Like WrestleMania 3, they sat down with a notebook, a pen, and I mean step by step tried to create the perfect match. And you know what? It worked.
Yeah,
It did.
I love Steamboat pre WWF though, like back in
Yeah.
WCW, watching him go
Oh,
against
dude.
Flair, you know.
Him and Flair had a hell of a match at, I think it was Wrestle War? They
Yeah.
put on like a 1 hour match at like Wrestle War 89 or something like that. It was one of those pay-per-views. It wasn't like one of their huge pay-per-views, but those two had a phenomenal match.
Iconic.
I think people
nonetheless.
forget about, like, you know, Flair going for an hour-long match. That was a daily thing. Like when we were talking on the Iron Man match for WWF, you know, it's like, but that was something some of these guys did that anyway you know, back in the day. So that was the whole thing with Flair and the title, you know.
Yep.
The NWA title that I will have one day. So that will be one of the
yeah.
next ones. But yeah,
real
this
quick,
one here,
real quick. Let me say hi to the rest of the people before I lose them in the chat. So, Big Chuck D, what's going on, Chuck? I know Chuck just subscribed to my channel just yesterday too, and here he is.
Nice.
Thank you for coming in, my friend. Gap Stargate, what's going on? Gap Stargate. Never forget when Hogan slammed Andre. That was epic. Yeah, I'm sure
Dude.
everybody remembers that.
In my stay in a murder mitten, I didn't get to go. We were poor.
Honey.
And what's going on, Decepticons? Cave of Villains, what is up? Machiny Draws, good to see you as well, buddy. I hope that you were doing good. All right, I think I'm all caught up with everybody that popped in the chat. Oh no, Captain Trek. What's up, Captain Trek? Am I caught up? I think I am caught up now.
Thank you.
Okay, I am caught up. So before we get into the rest of that talk, I still want to get to everybody's like initial, you know, experiences with how they got into wrestling. So we got Tony, we got Etep, Jens. What was your first experience with it?
Well, because I was British and that, we used to have this Saturday sport, and I'll like share you the screen of like our wrestling, but it was like technical wrestling, like with Regal, you know, William Regal, that sort of wrestling. Yeah, it was. But there was these two dudes who was like Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks, who was sort of like Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant, sort of like baddies. Well, you know, enemies. But they never teamed up. I think they always like hated each other. Well, acted like obviously like they'd have probably been mates, but yeah, and yeah, one great. They were just like belly bouncing each other like sumo wrestlers. and if any like normal, because like Giant Haystacks, I think he was like 6'6" or something. He real big, and so like normal wrestlers they just get like belly bounced out the ring, and
It's awesome.
Yeah. Dude, that Calhoun Haystacks, he wrestled in WCW as, was it Loch Ness? Tony, remember?
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah, he come stateside. Yeah, in the timeline we're watching. Yeah, I've seen him work before. Jens.
well, yeah, because like Finley, he used to be a British wrestler, and I know like he's went to WWE.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And yeah, didn't know about Giant Haystacks, so like,
Yeah, he went to WCW in the mid '90s.
Right.
Yeah.
At some point, didn't he just wrestle under Haystacks Calhoun?
He did, I think, on the Indies. But when he went to WCW, they branded him as Loch Ness.
Yeah. Like Finley's actually there now too. He's a newer wrestler in WCW, and they're calling him the Belfast Brawler. And that, can I just say, that blows my mind, because when you mention Finley these days, like a lot of the normies and stuff, they remember him for his time with Hornswoggle and being in WWE. But he was almost a backbone of WCW for so long.
Yep.
He was the one going out there and putting on matches during WCW Saturday night, and you know, he was kind of that support system for, you know, like so many were, Eddie Guerrero, Benoit. But it just blows my mind, not to cut you off, Jens, but just how associated Finley is with WWE now, because I always associated him with WCW for so long.
Same.
Yeah, he like trained them all up, didn't he? Like, I know he used to be training the like amateurs and that.
Yeah. He's kind of a locker room leader.
Yeah.
Well, Finley, he trained all the females too in WWE for like a long time.
Yeah.
After he'd retired, so he got, and that man didn't get enough credit for his contributions to the bit. I don't feel he'll ever get enough credit, him or William Regal, because Regal was probably one of the best pure wrestlers. Like, he was entertaining, but he's probably one of the best pure wrestlers they ever had on their roster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well, for his size, he was actually a lot more technical than a lot of the other guys too. Because most of the other guys were just absolutely just brawlers, and he wasn't. He could do a lot more than that.
Yep.
Do you remember when he made Goldberg look bad on national TV?
Oh, that was absolutely hysterical.
It was beautiful. Goldberg was blown up after 2 minutes, and Regal's like not even breaking a sweat. It was beautiful.
Do you guys remember when Finley first came out? They actually had him listed as being from Finland.
Did they?
Did they?
I remember him. I just remember that mullet and mustache, like in that picture on the screen there. When he first started as the Belfast Brawler in WCW, that's, you know, and then when they rebranded him, they shaved it off. You know, he had the blonde hair all of a sudden. I was like, does anybody remember that jobber from the 80s named Sandy Beach? Seriously, dude's a jobber from the 80s named Sandy Beach. I just remember thinking, like, when I first saw Finley, with his hair short, I was like, he looks like Sandy Beach, except Sandy had the mustache like Finley had when he had the mullet going on. But yeah, I was like, it always made me think of that. Some of the jobber names are like Sandy Beach. I'm like, who came up with that? Like that's clever.
I remember the classic guys, like you had S.T. Jones and I mean, even like for a while, Pedro Morales was kind of one of those guys too. And then, of course, you had Steve Lambert, who became the Brooklyn Brawler later on.
Yeah,
Barry Horowitz, the most famous jobber of all time.
Al Snow.
Oh God, Al. Dude, Al Snow didn't get anything of a push until he went to ECW. And they took him seriously there because that man could wrestle. And I know a lot of guys that were trained by Al, and he never got his just due in the Fed. ECW, he was more highly regarded than he was in WWE. He was highly regarded behind the scenes in WWE because everybody behind the scenes knew what he brought to the table. He just wasn't as mainstream marketable like some of the other guys around, like The Rock and all. You know, like, because that's who he was working alongside, you know, during that time period. You know, that was the Attitude Era.
Well, that's Heyman's gift, is being able to present people properly. Vince can't always do that, obviously. Some people Vince just doesn't get.
Aldo Montoya, Max Moon,
Leaf Cassidy.
Leaf Cassidy, Spark Plug, Bob Holly. He came around to that, but Bob Holly, to be fair, Bob Holly's kind of just, he's just a stiff working dick. But I mean, he can work. I'm not going to say the man can't work because he can work. He just doesn't have a personality at all.
Real quick, Kip Ellis, what's going on? Welcome. Good to see you. And we also have Mr. Grant Gregory in the chat.
Hail.
What's going on, Grant Gregory? And Ancient One, what's going on, Ancient One? Good to see you. I know a few people are talking about a few things. Like RR says, yeah, Steamboat and Flair had an incredible string of matches. Some people complain that Flair always did the same match, but his matches with Steamboat were clinics on how to construct matches.
Yeah, see, the RR knows the business. I like that because he's thinking psychology wise, and that with that statement, and that's it. People today are accustomed. They want spot fests. You know what I mean? Do you want all flippy shit? I was trained by Shane Morton initially, who is Ricky Morton from the Rock and Roll Express's nephew, and Shane was like, if you know how to do a side headlock right, you can make it look like a moonsaw to the crowd. You know what I mean? If you sell it right. And that's the school I kind of came from. And the guy that finished my training was trained by Lance Storm, who is somebody who I always had a tremendous amount of respect for. Was Lance Storm, just because that man could work. He could almost he was Lance Storm was like another Chris Benoit, honestly. If you really like just the same kind of work, tenacity. He didn't murder his family, but good. But no Lance.
There's no call, no shows under Lance's belt.
That's right, but no, man. There's so many workers out there that that's fans don't respect that kind of style anymore. That's the problem. Is that we call it the Tennessee style, the walk and talk. You know what I mean? Like as a heel, I didn't want to plan shit out. So before we go into the match, I want to know what we're doing for the if we're gonna go right into the heat. We're gonna go right into the heat. All right. Where are we gonna do hope spots? Where's the cutoff? And where's the double down? And how are we gonna take it home? The rest of it, all the other little stuff, we'll figure out in the ring. Because if you plan that out in the back, and the crowd doesn't like what you're doing, and you're like, you can't audible out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then what do? Your match, you got the crowd sitting on their hands, and everybody that's going on behind you is gonna be like, these assholes killed the crowd.
And you were definitely relying on every other wrestler that's in that locker room to help carry you as well, because you can't do it by yourself.
No.
Do you mind if I just speak to that comment too about Flair getting criticism for performing the same match?
Go ahead.
I think it was more of he was a product of just ahead of his time, because they didn't know as much about concussions and just health back then. In general, I mean, people were getting pretty messed up on the road, and I think Flair just perfected the right formula for him to think about longevity, to think about, am I going to still be here in a year? And if you're going out there, not everyone can do what Jeff Hardy does and have such a long career. Some people, their bodies get worn down pretty quickly, and I think Flair was just trying to make his matches, and just his week-to-week matches, not the big ones. But I think he was just trying to make him as entertaining as possible while being as less taxing on his body as possible, because the guy probably wrestled at least 4 times a week for 30 years. That's a minor car accident every time.
Well, I think most people don't think about that in the business too. They're only thinking short term. People like him that already been in the business for a long time, they know they got to think long term, because it's not going to last forever. And I think that's where you get into a lot of these guys that are so drugged out. And I mean, we all know that that's one of the reasons why Jeff Hardy got the way he did. People like Scott Hall, because they were trying to deal with all the pain that they were suffering from all the injuries in the ring, and they had to just going on. So they medicated themselves heavily to be able to get through it all.
Yeah, and that catches up with you. That will catch up with you eventually.
It doesn't take long for it to catch up with you either.
Yeah, especially being on the road all the time too. That's hard in itself.
That's one thing. I was fortunate. I never worked any out of state shows. Mine was all in state. So I either was able to come home at night after the show, or I'd just get a hotel room, and I wouldn't scrimp. I'd get a fucking nice hotel room because I see some of the boys, they're sleeping in their cars and they're staying at these 20. But honestly, like a lot of these guys they didn't have like, I was 37 at the end of my career. I was 36, 37 years old. I was working as a DJ. I worked in finance. So I was, in life, I was ahead of these guys. You know what I mean? They're in their 20s working minimum wage jobs, struggling, driving a $100 beater to make it to a booking where they're going to make $5, get a hot dog and a handshake, and then drive 200 miles to the next one. But I that's a lot of them were kind of like, how do you do this? I'm like, well, I have a career, I do this for fun, which the next morning after a show, you wake up and be like, why do I do this again? And then you got to go set the ring back up and go train for 3-4 hours, which I did before every show. I was in the ring taking bumps. And like Tony said, every bump you take in the ring is a 25-mile-an-hour car accident. When they did that on that sports science show, I'm just sitting there the whole time going like, oh my God, that's what happens inside of my body every time I hit that steel and wood with that much padding on it.
That's the thing. I think a lot of people just think it's nothing there. Like I remember for the longest time, everybody was just talking, it's like a trampoline. And I'm like, no, it's not. No, it's not.
Dude.
It's 2x4s and plywood.
Yeah. And steel. Like steel beams. I mean, yeah, that's, people don't know, man. That's it's rings. You tighten your bolts and everything up to adjust your tightness and your stiffness of your ring. Some of them, like the one we bought a ring from Harley Race, it had foot wide panels of sheet metal that ran all around the frame of the ring. So when you bumped, it was louder. You know what I mean? Because they used that ring in Memphis. And it was around Memphis, between Memphis and Georgia, that ring traveled. And it was hard. We had a steel cage and everything for it, which that steel cage was a bear, and it was too big to fit in most of the venues we ran in. But man, those rings, dude, holy shit. Most of those have no give to them. Unless you're in a boxing ring, it's a little bit different, which I've wrestled in those before. It's just weird. One promotion I went to, which I only went once. I was like, I don't like the way they ran business. But yeah, man, there's not a lot of money on the indies unless you can draw. You know what I mean? And that's fortunate for us. Like we were kind of the attraction, and we were a tag team, but we were part of an NWO like stable. So me and my partner were basically Hall and Nash, like down to getting shitty before the matches, in between, show we're drinking. I mean, we had fun though. I never hurt anybody that didn't deserve it. There's a couple times you had to, potato a few guys, but it's you piss me off. You get caught with a live round, and that's
I'm sure on the indie circuit you got a little bit more leeway too, because it's not like the big leagues where you gotta protect everybody else in the locker room. So
you still do. I mean, we don't want. I never did a move.
I'm not saying
potentially
figure. I'm not saying figure somebody, but teach them a damn lesson. I mean, that's what they did to Hogan early on. They taught him a lesson by breaking his leg. No,
stretched him.
Business, kid.
Wasn't that Vern? Was that Vern Gagne that did that to him?
He hated Hogan.
Oh, he did. I don't know if he's still alive anymore, but I remember watching multiple. Yeah, he did not like Hogan at all. Thought he was the most overrated, just dipshit.
Yeah, he was some California dude in a band.
Yeah. Yep.
Vern passed away, I think, in April 2015. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. I didn't remember when, but I just remember Gagne had passed. Which he's someone else who probably doesn't get enough credit for where wrestling is today. Because most of these 1980s stars we remember in WWF, I don't want to say it was the ECW of its time, but they went through AWA.
Yep.
and made their way up to WWF.
Good old territory days, boys. That's
Oh,
where the fun was.
And that was one of the most successful, that Minnesota territory.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Big
All right,
wrestling
real quick. I'm going to say hi to a few more people that popped into the chat. I see Glinzer is here. What's going on, Glinzer?
Hail Glenzer.
Old Flair
Hail.
Steamboat match had Andre the Giant as a guest ref. That's entertainment. And Andre used to put on some good matches. Channel 66 is in the house. What's up, Channel 66? And Ancient One has sent me a fake super chat. And I will still read it because it still says super chat on it. So, a colossal sized bag of premium carrots and premium lettuce for Tommy the guinea pig, his wife, and the guinea pig pup so they can week out of complete happiness. Week. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that.
Well, fake super chat. Wouldn't that be a piggy chat?
That truly would be a piggy chat. Best explosive wrestler was the Ultimate Warrior. Later, we got Goldberg, The Rock, and Cena, who looked like bad copycats in comparison.
The Ultimate Warrior could not work his way out of a paper bag.
Do you remember the early
terrible.
stuff when he was part of the Blade Runners?
Him and Sting. Yeah.
Sting, yeah.
Yeah. And they work, was it Florida? They worked down in Florida, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I can't, yeah. Dude, I miss the, McMahon, I'll never buy out the competition, buys the competition. What a piece of shit. Him and his old man. But like their greed ruined professional wrestling. Like literally ruined professional wrestling. Like ruined it. Like Memphis, I missed the Memphis and Georgia, like Georgia Championship Wrestling. That was, yeah, AWA. Dude, AWA was good. You had UWF.
Smoky Mountain.
Smoky Mountain goes out saying. What was the you had? There's God, I'm trying to think.
Well, you had the AWA, you had the NWA.
Yep, NWA. Yeah, that turned into WCW in the early. It was early, like 91. I think they.
And then somebody wound up rebranding it and using the name again because that's where AJ Styles wound up getting his start. He was working in a small independent called NWA.
Well, there's still NWA is still a national body because the promotion that I ran, we were part of the NWA. We had to pay dues and everything because we were NWA Absolute Entertainment Pro Wrestling. But we brought in some guys, but it wasn't like Jamie Dundee. But it wasn't. It cost. Oh, that JR, that fucking happy face JR. That some bitch gonna tell me not to smoke them joints in that taxi cab.
The 86 I'm watching, he was on wrestling. Dude, I was dying because your impersonation is spot on, other than you don't look like the Honky Tonk Man, pre-Honky Tonk Man. And that's how he looked at 86.
Oh, God. Wait, what did Glinzer say? I remember Vince starting WBF, a bodybuilding show that crashed. Oh, yeah, the World Bodybuilding Federation. Yeah, because he didn't have drug testing laws.
Wasn't that where Lex Luger first came from, the narcissist, or he was supposed to be the face of WBF?
Yeah, he was playing in the USFL before he got into pro wrestling. Because he was a pro football player too, Luger.
Yeah.
Well, right before we continue the rest of this conversation, I want to give Adam a chance to talk about his first introduction to wrestling, and then we'll go on with this. So go ahead, Adam.
Oh yeah, I mean basically it was the usual. It was the Saturday night, WWF Saturday nights, because we were poor and didn't have cable, but with the rabbit ears and shit, you could and some aluminum foil, you could get 3 or 4 channels. And then in '84. When I was diagnosed with diabetes, is when I caught more WCW and along those lines because in the hospital you'd have cable, so that's where I caught and just took a shine to Flair. But of course we didn't have the internet back then, so it was getting the magazines and reading the stuff because I only got WWF. That was the main thing that was shown here in Indiana. And then once we got cable, you really. Still, WWF was the bigger one that was advertising the pay-per-views and stuff. Unless you had the buddies that had the old school huge satellite dishes that would record them on the VHS tapes, allegedly. And
that's what I did.
How I saw some of the other stuff. But yeah, that was my introduction to it. Was mainly the Saturday night stuff, and then you know, being in a hospital, you got to catch, you know, Georgia Championship Wrestling and, you know,
Jim
AWA,
Crockett.
you know, some of the NWA.
Oh, yeah.
And WC. So yeah, I mean that's how my track went. And at 46 years of age, soon to be 47, I'm sitting here rewatching 1973 WWF, and you know I'm 86 WCW, and the one nice thing on Peacock is they have the territory days, and you can go back and watch, and that's what I've been doing. It's like, you know, because I love Tony so much that I started the pay-per-views for WWF in order by year. And then once I started doing the Monday night retrospective with them via watching, being on the show, you know, being in the chat and everything, it's like I'm going to stop watching the pay-per-views till we get to them. Because otherwise I'd be like years ahead and I'd have to go back. So I'm like, no. But yeah, I mean, I love it, man. I've loved wrestling. I've got a room full of wrestling belts. You know, I finally got off my butt and started hanging them up. It's a whole lot of fun. It's all wrestling all the time down here. It's no wonder that the Wiener Dog clan are always wrestling.
Start your own promotion.
Yep.
Wiener
Since
Dog
we're waiting for the
Federation.
Wakulian World Order, we're going to have the Weenie World Order. Because I am the Wiener King. Let me tell you. Oh, yeah. But yeah, man, my love for wrestling, that's where it came from, you know, and then
Awesome.
people like, you know, ETEP that's been able to actually wrestle, talking to people, Tony, you, Tommy, you know, same with even Draven that did backyard wrestling. Like, it's really cool to hear the stories that these gentlemen have. Like, you got to meet Harley freaking Race. You got to meet Macho Man. I didn't even get to meet Macho Man. I was on the beachfront that he owned in Sarasota, but that was about it. Like, he owned a condo, and he went back to WCW like 2 weeks before we were there, and this whole top half of the floor was always dark. And I swear to God, he owned the entire top half of this condo complex that he lived at. And my ex-wife's uncle got to talk with Randy numerous times on the beach and said he was a really, really nice guy, down to earth and everything. So
Yeah.
you know, that was always good because he was always another one. Like, I wasn't a Hogan fan. I was a Savage fan.
Yep.
So big time Savage fan all the way. I don't know. It was just one of those things.
It's
Must be because of
great
Miss
seeing
Elizabeth
him
and
in
then-
Spider-Man.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Bonesaw is ready.
Ready.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
because
know?
he was like, I think, retired for a couple years at that point, and I didn't pay much attention to internet news back then, so I didn't really realize he was going to be in it. And y'all remember Kazaa and LimeWire, and so that's how I saw the first Spider-Man originally.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. And
Allegedly.
yeah, just seeing
Always
it was
allegedly,
like,
boys.
man.
You just never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember LimeWire. And then Orange Wire. However that went.
Yeah, LimeWire. Give your computer aids to
Yeah.
download a Snoop Dogg song.
Yeah. LimeWire was the first pandemic, so.
Now, here's a question for everybody.
You know, Piper didn't need 16 titles, you know.
No, he didn't.
He was so great and like so fundamental to WWF, but then I don't want to take a shot at Flair either because he was so fundamental. They were both just like so great in their own different ways, their different flavors. You know?
Well, I think, and now this is just my personal opinion, and I'll let ETEP go, but I feel Piper actually takes this for one single reason. Think of one particular thing that Flair did to really make people hate him, and then compare that to the stupid shit that Roddy Piper did, like smashing that coconut over Jimmy Snuka's head and all the hate that drew. I don't think nobody drew as much hatred from the fans as the way Piper did back in the day.
He painted himself half black when he wrestled Bad News Brown at WrestleMania. Didn't he call Goldust like a transvestite or a queer when he was working that program with him? I mean, dude, and we're talking that was in '96. You know, we're up to now. Flair never said anything like that. I mean, I remember Animal Hawk said he was gonna grape Ric Flair. But I mean, as far as the best heel of all time goes, I love Ric Flair, but I gotta go with Piper.
Yeah.
I do. The commitment to the gimmick, I would definitely go with Piper, and I love Ric Flair, but I don't know. I say Piper is honestly like the better heel. In all honesty,
one of my favorite wrestling stories, and this is why I would go with Piper too. Overall, I think he edges Flair out before he went to Pacific Northwest Wrestling, and then he went from PCW over to Jim Crockett Promotions. But before all that, in his first promotion in LA, I believe, he was feuding with the Guerreros, and most of that audience was Latino. And finally, one week, he comes out with his bagpipes and he asks everyone to stand for the Mexican national anthem. And he started playing La Cucaracha.
La Cucaracha.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Tony.
Yeah.
Darn right, buddy.
Yeah, they were saying like they were fucking pulling seats bolted into the cement out of the ground and throwing them in the ring. The whole arena was they weren't happy with the.
He got stabbed like 7 times from fans.
Teflon jacket.
Yeah.
You're not over as a heel until somebody threatens to fucking kill you. Like that's when you're over as a heel. When somebody threatens to stab you. And we're talking about Ric Flair, and I found I found some this is what is this, Wrestling USA from spring 1986. And this is one just sitting around the office here. And we're talking about Flair, and then of course let's go with December 86. Let's talk about Roddy Piper, the cover. I just happen to have these just chilling here along with and everybody knows my love of Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Here's a good one.
All right, about time.
You can see the poke around his nose.
I got there's a few of these old WWF magazines just kind of sitting around here. I was like, I like looking at these. Like, okay, so this one right here, this Wrestling USA. We were just talking about different territories and such. And in the back, they used to rank they'd have your rankings for tag teams. So here's your top 10 singles competitors from spring '86. Number 1, Ric Flair, who was billed from Minneapolis, Minnesota at that point, not Charlotte. Number 2, Rick Martel. That's kind of seems high, but Rick Martel, actually think about it. Rick Martel was a really good worker. Hogan, number 3. Dusty Rhodes, baby, the American Dream with my sweet sapphire. Number 4, Tito Santana, or as Heenan used to call him, Chico Santana. Number 6, Magnum TA. And wrestling fans today, what you know about Magnum TA? That dude, if he didn't get in that motorcycle accident, would have been probably up there with Hogan.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, just Savage 7, Nikita Koloff 8. Butch Reed, number 9, my favorite, Hacksaw Butch Reed, and number 10, Kerry Von Erich. So there's just some of your ratings, dude. These are.
I gotta correct you, bud. It wasn't the brain. It was Jesse Ventura that called him.
Was it Jesse called him Chico?
Yeah,
I thought it was Bobby. Oh.
Yeah, it was Jesse. It was
That
Jesse
seems like-
Ventura. It was one of the things I loved about him. Chico Santana.
Seems like a Heenan thing to say.
I know.
Yeah, speaking of Hacksaw Jim Duggan, it wasn't that long ago. He had another surgery too. Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
He had
Prostate cancer. Yeah, prostate
Yeah.
cancer.
Yeah. Wow.
I just seen he posted something the other day. Him and his lady, they were out shopping. He had a bag from something or other, and he was being a very Druish princess style. No, I got to take my shots at Pete when I can. The E-Tep of the Wakulian clan.
What did I do?
Nothing. It's like I take those pop shots at you, those ribs when I can.
All right, but well, before
Druish princess.
we forget about that question, let's get everybody else's opinion on there. Piper or Flair? So, E-Tep, you said Piper.
Yes, sir.
Tony said Flair. I said Piper. What do you say, Adam?
Piper, definitely Piper, because I don't think that Flair was a heel in the sense of a heel. He was a nature boy. He had the belt, the NWA belt, which then turned on the 22nd of February to the big gold belt that WCW had. And he did heelish things, but he just wasn't a heel. And the La Cucaracha, that right there, that was Piper. And I love Flair as well. It's one of the wrestlers I hope I get to meet before he passes. Hopefully when cons get back, he'll be at one of them. But yeah, Piper. definitely. That's where my flag is, man. Piper.
All right, Jens.
I say Flair, but I can see where Piper, because I didn't really see much of Piper's heel stuff. I really saw Piper mainly being a tag team dude in WrestleMania and that.
Oh yeah,
so
him and Bob Orton.
Yep.
Yeah, and so I'd go more Flair.
Orndorff.
Yeah, because the thing that Flair had was style, where he played that sort of villainous sort of I'm on top of the world, sort of and even if I have to cheat to be on top of the world, I'll do it. Sort of villain. So that's why I'm going for Flair.
All right. Well, Vinny, it's up to you. Does this tie or let's see what Vinny says.
There's no tie. Because I'll tell you right now, I think Flair, he had the arrogance, is what he came off with. But if a true heel, there's no WrestleMania without Piper. Those Piper pits, everything he's done in his career, he's through and through a heel. Like Etep said, man, he painted himself half black, half white. The Kukaracha thing he did. There's so much shit that he did. He's been a heel, so committed his entire career. I'm hands down Roddy Piper.
Well, you heard it, folks.
I'm gravely disappointed. Again, you have made me unleash my dogs of war.
The guinea pigs win again. But real quick, we're going to get back on with the rest of the conversation, and we can start talking about some of the merchandise that came afterwards. So, Vinny, what was your first introduction to wrestling?
Oh shit, dude! I was a kid, man. It was all that stuff. From what they did at night, what they did on the Saturday mornings. I was basically it was my grandmother really got us into it, which is kind of funny. She was wheelchair bound, and she loved watching wrestling and stuff. It always made her happy and laugh. So we were always watching it like that. So man, I was maybe 5, I guess. Dude, yeah.
Like Bruno.
Oh yeah, she did.
Yeah.
Dude, she
there would have been any question of that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they wouldn't have liked Bruno Sammartino.
No, not at all. No, yeah, but the Italian ones and just it was the more swollen and the the heavier they could lift, and she was always blown away by that stuff and was always laughing seeing these big guys beating the crap out of each other.
I think RR has a point too. Yeah, excellent points, Vinny. The only thing Piper didn't do was give anyone a booster.
True that. Oh my God. Would that be funny if he was around during this time?
No.
I wonder.
I think he'd be losing his mind, quite honestly.
Probably. Yeah.
He would be right there with Kevin Sorbo on Twitter, just trying to anger people.
Yeah.
I think
Piper?
so, man. I was listening to his last live streams, and he had the podcast before he passed. Those were amazing, man, because he had these great stories. He had other wrestlers on, and they would just recount so much stuff. But I know he did his last couple of interviews, and he was talking about what was going on in the world, and he's saying that we're losing our freedoms. So, yeah, I think you're 100% right, Tommy. I think he'd be right now all over the place, letting everybody know his opinions on that shit. That's for damn sure. But yeah, man.
Thank you, Ancient One. I appreciate that.
He did live and all, so he's probably red pilled a bit.
Oh, totally, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that's what they brought up. Some of there was the anniversary of the movie and stuff, and he was doing these interviews, doing these conventions, and he was saying it, man. Yeah, this world, sweet baby Jesus. That was one of his favorite things to say.
Yep, and then drink is I think it was bubblegum flavored soda pop.
Mm-hmm.
Pipers. Because I used to listen to the podcast, man. Hell yeah.
Oh, dude, I love the podcast. There's only maybe a handful, if you're lucky, you could find them still online, but they took most of them down because of again, you got to think that piece of shit Stone Cold. He made a big stink to their. They had the same. They worked for the same company, and when Will Sasso did that bit and said he was Stone Cold, it was so fucking funny. But he had a little he had a hissy fit and complained, and then they pulled Roddy's podcast for like 2 months, and then when he came back, he said his whole big thing about it. You know,
Sucks.
yeah. They had like one. There was like only one more after that. It was the Lonnie Poffo one, and that was like one of the few that you could still find.
You know what, Chris?
Macho Man's
I
brother.
don't think you're wrong.
Yep.
I think They Live Israel.
It was a good conversation. But, yep.
Just to hear him do the conversations, right? I always thought that was one of the fun things outside of wrestling. Like when these guys live long enough to do, like in the movie The Wrestler, right? Hit the conventions. Nowadays, obviously, we've got podcasting and whatnot. So you've got all, you know, Flair's got a YouTube channel on top of, you've got like DDP with Jake the Snake and, you know, all this. It's so nice to have, you know, E-Tup tells us the stories from the indie level, but then to get these guys that we've all seen being able to do the same thing and we're able to see it. I love it, man. I really do. I think it's great.
Oh yeah, man. I'm so pissed I never got a chance to meet Piper, and I think it was at 2 conventions where he was at, but the way it was set up, and it was some of like the first conventions I did, so I didn't know about the green room and all that crap too. So yeah, that sucked. I wish I could have met him because he was like my favorite, one of my, you know, at least on my top 5, man. Again, without Roddy, you wouldn't have had what I think WWF and E turned into.
Yeah, you wouldn't have had Hogan at the level that he achieved.
Right. No. You need a great villain, because without a great villain, your hero ain't shit.
Yep.
I know for me, when I first started watching it, because my mother was a huge wrestling fan before I was even born, and they went out to see a lot of shows. They had actually legitimately met Blackjack Mulligan, Andre the Giant. So they were going out to all these shows. And then after I was born, they started taking me to the shows as well. My first memory, I was maybe about 4 or 5 years old. And I don't remember who he was wrestling, but I remember the title match was Bob Backlund was in the ring. So I was really young at the time, and I don't remember if it was the Intercontinental Championship title or if it was the heavyweight title, but this would have been like early 80s, maybe even late 70s.
Okay.
So because I was born in 72, and I remembered I was maybe about 5 or 6 when I went. So yeah, it's 78 or so, 77, 78.
It was early enough where the IC title was still greasy from Patterson.
It was still covered. In lube.
That wasn't all grease.
That's San Francisco's finest.
Yeah, but I remember the wrestler. I remember Pedro Morales, and I remember all these other guys that were just really coming up and making names for themselves. And then the old people that were the jobbers like S.T. Jones. And I remember Tony Gurria and oh God, what was the other one? Tony Gurria, and he there was a partner of his. But I remember we had run into Tony Gurria when they came down to Trenton to the CYO arena, little rinky-dink arena. They would bring some of the lower end wrestlers from WWF down there. And I went up to say hi to Tony Gurria and asked him if he could sign like the magazine, and he's like, "Oh, get out of here, kid. I don't have time for that." And I was like, you know, I can't stand these good guy wrestlers anymore. So by the time somebody like The Undertaker came around, who wasn't necessarily a full bad guy, but then again, he wasn't a good guy either, I really latched onto those type of characters myself.
Yep, the tweeners, man.
Yeah, man.
Yep, that's it. They weren't a heel, but they weren't a baby face. You know, they were a heel, but they got baby face. They got a baby face pop. You know, because that's like Austin was. It kind of, you know, he was a heel, but he started getting the baby face reaction.
Yeah,
because the crowd took
too.
Oh fuck, dude! The NWO was the cool. Because they were cool. Like that. That's exactly why I love them so much, and that's why when we were doing the shit for the stable, we designed our logo. I was like, we're gonna do an NWO style logo because it'll sell merch because the crowd's gonna love it. And they booed us. They called us everything but a white boy, and they still bought our $25 shirts.
Team ratings, baby.
I'm leaving this one up. I like that.
Tony Clapp.
Tony.
That's what I think of you, Tony Gurria. That's beautiful.
Oh my God! I saw they finally put it on Hulu. The Flight from Hell.
Oh, did
wow. Yeah. Oh my God, man. Flair is such a piece of shit.
they? Yeah.
Helicopter.
Yeah, it wasn't just a helicopter, and I think they didn't get into all the details of what happened. I think he got very rapish.
Yeah, we did a live stream about that. Remember, Tony?
Yeah.
Yep.
About that episode of Dark Side of the Ring.
Yeah, and you could tell they held back on a lot of details for them to have the FBI there when they landed.
Yep.
And that's, comparing Piper and Flair to, that's one thing. Piper was a family man.
Yep. Yeah, Piper was a family guy, man. He was always there for his kids and everything.
It's nice to hear somebody else's dogs go nuts for once.
So as we start to pull away from some of the older wrestling things and what it actually got us into, we're going to talk about the revival of wrestling. I mean, obviously that starts with Hogan with the whole rock and wrestling, and you mentioned ETEP with the cartoons that they had with the rock and wrestling as a cartoon, and I think that actually revitalized wrestling as an industry because it was actually going through some growing pains because at first he was like expanding out. And they were trying to make it bigger, but they hit this wall. And I think Hogan being in that movie with Sylvester Stallone, and they just leached right off all that momentum and took it in a completely different direction.
Oh, for sure.
Wrestling wasn't as accepted in the mainstream yet. It was there. It was relevant in the zeitgeist. Everybody knew about it, but it was something for, kids and teenagers, and then, it was stigmatized, trailer park, and that's what it was. It was stigmatized that. Well, wrestling started, they were carnies. And if you know anything about the business, you know that in the ring, some of the boys still to this day speak carny in the ring when they talk to each other, so the marks won't understand them. Mm-hmm. And one of the guys that trained me, he did that. I never bothered to, but it was kind of cool because that's it's like it's keeping kayfabe, but down south that was way more important than it was up north. Honestly, in the even now. It still is down there.
Well, even the term "mark" is something that was brought over from the Carney days.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, man. And the internet made every fucking mark a smart mark, and that's dangerous. Now you But no, I loved the rock and wrestling shit though, man. That was great.
I wonder how dumb the first mark actually was that they named it after him.
That's dude, yeah.
That guy's so dumb, man. He's eating all this shit we're saying. Dude, we're gonna call it a mark.
Yep.
And we know exactly what that mark is like. And he probably gets this question asked all the time.
Anybody ever try to take your manhood?
Last name Simp, first name Mark.
I think I thought it was funny that Vince Sr. fired Hogan for doing the Rocky movie, and then, like you're saying, though, I think that really helped cement it into what it turned into with the cartoons and the popularity, and Junior rebuilding the brand and going and stealing everybody.
Yeah. Oh my God, man, they were dirty.
Well, in the early days, they did a lot of things like people like Andre the Giant were considered like an attraction, and he was like one of the few. Well, he wasn't the only one. There was a few of them just like him, but he was like one of those guys who can go to any federation, and nobody ever tried to tie him down till Vince Jr. took over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, ETEP and I were talking about this earlier because it's 1973 WWF. On the Peacock, it's old school wrestling, okay? It's like the second episode. You've got the little people wrestlers. And we think that if we had more of that today, the world would be a better place.
Midget, think about it, though. Think about it. What is the one kind of violence that is absolutely, like, hilarious and adorable whenever you see it? Midget on midget violence, yo. You can't even get scared of it. It's just like... It's so cute. They're bludgeoning each other, like it.
I know. We need to get one more little person for Walton to fight because we need to do that at some point.
He's tired of
You know
being
what?
surrounded by all us giants. I mean, I know he's only like 3'2".
After the match, you lift them back up by their back of their shirts, and you're holding them up, and their arms and their legs are still kicking.
Yeah, that would be great too. Midget fighting a cage, because it only take 2 normal people bring the whole cage out and just sit it down for him.
Dude, it would work with the dog cages that we have.
I was about to say
that.
I've got a dog kennel we could have midget wrestling in.
We're about a year away from Monday Night Raw, like dressing up midgets as like Vader and different WWF superstars and having them go at it on the undercard during Raw and stuff, which is
Dink the Clown.
Yes.
What about the little was it the little Jerry the Kings? Yeah, you had the little Kings and the little Dinks.
The little T and all, wouldn't they? And one of the WrestleManias.
Yes.
Yeah, man. I'm sorry. I died. Like I started watching it, and then you just see him going. And I was going to bring it up to you, and I did message you today, but I was going to be like, man, because I've seen it's perspective though. Like you see it, you don't really think much of it, but then I know how tall you are because we've stood side by side. You've got a couple. You know, I'm 6 foot. You're 6'2", 6'3". So, and I know what you look like in the ring. So it really puts it in perspective of how tiny they are when they're in the ring. And I'm like, you know, I was like, oh, this is hilarious.
Well, didn't what was it? Wasn't it Shawn Michaels that brought a miniature like Bret Hart or something out the one time too?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yes, he did.
Forgot about
yeah, we should be getting to that pretty soon, actually.
Shawn Michaels, aka Mrs. Pat Patterson.
Oh my
Got his butt kicked by 1 Marine, not 13.
Yeah. And Luffy is a god. Yeah, man. I gotta say it too. Bret Hart, one of my favorite. He's definitely in my top 5 as well.
Right there, Luffy was asking about it too. Before we leave the old wrestling, someone should mention Bret Hart.
Absolutely, man. I thought he
backed him up on that too.
Hell yeah, man. Best there is, best there was, best there ever will be. You know, again, until Goldberg kicked him in the head. Son of a bitch, piece of shit.
Yeah, Goldberg's a piece of garbage.
Yeah. Old trash. Just like Brock, man. I didn't know that too. He was also sitting there fucking flashing women.
Hey,
of course he was. He's Brock Lesnar.
He flashed Sable, and look who his wife is. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying, people.
What garbage. And I didn't know that's the reason why freaking Mr. Perfect got fired.
Yeah.
Because Brock went running to Vince crying like a bitch.
Kurt was beating me up.
No, he slapped me in the head with shaving cream. Wah.
They cut fucking.
I could legitimately see him doing that too, because he looked like somebody like, he's a bit, clowny in the ring, but he probably didn't take any shit behind the ring.
Hennig? Oh, hell no, dude. People they sleep on how big he was. He was like 6'2", 255 pounds, like, or 6'4". I'm sorry. He's
the same size as Brock. They said.
Yeah, he was a big man. Mm-hmm. I loved him and Rick Rude together too, man. Them two were badasses. Yeah. Rude's his career ended too soon from that neck injury.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's a lot of that going around. That and then all the fucking drugs that destroyed their hearts. But those two guys were amazing. Those matches they had were freaking legendary.
Dude, God, I yearn for those days where there was like matches that you're sitting back going like, this is what it's all about. You know what I mean? And you don't get that anymore.
Definitely. I think pay-per-view.
I think we see little fragments of it from like AWA.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think AWE or wait a minute, AEW.
AEW.
So many ones that we've been talking about. I'm getting confused to the new ones. Yeah, so you're seeing little flashes of that brilliance with AEW now, because they're pulling the guys in from all over the place. They're not just saying, "Hey, we're just going to pillage WWE," or their subdivisions. No, they're picking people from all over the place. So they're getting some amazing talent there, and some of the stuff you see, it's jarring. You actually stop and go, "Wow, that was amazing." And how often do you see that? Like this last WWE pay-per-view, when I watched it with Adam and Red, I don't remember going wow at any point. The only thing that we were wowing about is about all the old crusty clams that they brought down to the ring for the Women's Royal Rumble.
Right. Or wow, what a bad match.
Like, that was it. It's like, okay. And literally, I had to debate on if we could let Nathan watch that shit. Because I'm like, it was literally a lingerie match. I'm like, no, wait a minute. No. I'm like,
I was waiting for somebody to break a hip during that women's match.
Jesus.
was it you or Red that said if poor Lita was to do something that her woman depends would show? I died laughing.
That-
We had
dude.
more fun because all I did was allegedly had everybody get together. We were watching it and we talked in the chat of StreamYards and watched the actual pay-per-view and had a blast doing it. But I think we had more fun ripping into it than we did watching it because it was awful.
Man.
Yeah, I remember that one. It was pretty bad. I think that really, honestly, I think The Undertaker was better than AJ Styles and his two cronies, quite honestly. And that's not saying much because he could hardly move at that point. Ted DiBiase's $1 Million Man. Everybody's got a price for the $1 Million
Belt
Man.
behind
Yep.
me.
Great laugh, too,
There.
man.
Everybody's got a price. He was just at the last Horror Hound too. It was him and the Godfather. So I got to kind of meet him. I didn't get anything signed. I didn't have this belt yet. Because I mean, it's like $60-$80 to get stuff signed these days from these guys. I don't mind. For the most part, it's $50-$60 depending. I got the Godfather to sign a belt. He also signed, even though he wasn't ever the WWE champion, he was an Intercontinental, but he was kind enough to sign the commemorative version that I had that was Nate's for Nathan, and also a photo that he wrote to Nate. So I thought it was really cool. If
I was to ever run into him, I got a Papa Shango figure he could sign.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
I got the photo that he had all of his, Papa Shango, all of his characters were on it, and he signed. That's the one he wrote to Nathan, from The Godfather, Pimpin' 80s. So he's got that sitting there on his little thing, and then he's got Jeff's comic next to it because Jeff personalized a signature to good old Meathead. And yeah, man, it was a fun Horror Hound this last one that we had, and in September. So I'm looking forward to the one coming up in the end of March. Can't wait to see who else is going to be there. But yeah,
Nice.
it's always fun to see these wrestlers show up to a Horror Hound convention, because if you're not into the horror scene or whoever's there, there's something else for everybody.
They really got to change the name of that, because every time everybody says it, all I hear is Whore Hound. That's all
Yep.
I hear.
Yeah.
I got asked that so many times before I had to cancel it. Hey, we're going to Horror Hound for our anniversary. The Horror Hound? I'm like, no, Horror Hound. Like,
And see, once
Jesus.
somebody
Tell
starts
me
saying,
more about your whores.
well, see,
Right?
I hear Whore Hound, and then when you say, asked, all I heard was asked. It's it's traveling down the entire dictionary for me at this point.
It's a good horror convention, and there's lots of whores there. There you go.
Jesus, it's only the biggest goddamn hole in the world.
Oh, shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I see a lot of people talking about a lot of the different guys, like, the tragedy of Scott Hall.
Oh, God, man. Yeah.
And again,
Oh.
Absolutely right. If it wasn't for DDP, he would have did himself in.
I know, because the guy
Well,
was
him
so
and
destructive.
Jake. Jake.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
But Jake, yeah, you could tell he still had a good heart. He just had so many bad things happen to him. That's why he was doing what he was doing. But Scott, man, that guy was always just like shitty to everyone and everything. He had the
Well, he
right
was on-
click.
Yeah, he was on a path to self-destruction for the longest time.
After
Oh,
killing
yeah.
that guy, I think that's what it was too.
Who did he kill?
There was I can't remember the story, but he actually legitimately, in self-defense, he ended up taking somebody's life, and I think
it was, wasn't it in a parking lot outside of a bar or something? I don't
think
remember
so.
if he said he was still working there at the time or.
Yeah, I can't remember the full story, Tommy, but I just know because he had mentioned it in some documentaries and stuff. But I think that's what it really is. I mean, he took someone's life, and it just always stuck there.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was in self-defense, mind you.
Right.
But yeah,
But it's still, yeah, taking a life when it's not something that's on your to-do list.
yeah.
Most people, they can't get over stuff like that.
I mean, you put the business aspect and the horror stories that we've heard from ETEP, and then you multiply it by, he was in lots of places. Big Scott Hall into WWF, into WCW, back to WWE, and then back to the Indies and stuff.
Mhm.
So, it's the life of a wrestler isn't always the easiest thing. I would have to say. I think with today's product, with it being World Wrestling Entertainment, it's still different than what it was when it was World Wrestling Federation, WC, back the old days. It's just a completely different monster.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, and that right there, Book of Soul Assassins, that's when people really started paying attention to the wrestlers and their mental health. That shook a lot of people awake.
Yeah, it did.
Oh, big time.
That was beyond tragic.
You still got people to this day that don't think that it was Benoit that did it, that he got set up.
No, well, you can see in the documentaries too. When Eddie Guerrero died, this man wasn't just destroyed. It was not normal how he was behaving after that, because he really was like so latched on to the man. It wasn't just a brotherhood thing. You could tell something was wrong with his fucking brain. His emotional state was it was in red zone. I mean, they should have just brought this guy to a hospital immediately, do whatever scans they had to, get him the proper help, because he had fucking brain damage.
Oh yeah, well think about it though. It wasn't really. They still didn't really know as much as they do now of the concussion. The amount of concussions he had, and they weren't really looking into that stuff that much.
Well, again, nobody listens. What's his name? Davey Boy Smith. He told people, and the guy he learned it from, he told them to don't ever do this move, the flying headbutt off the top. Don't.
Yeah, Dynamite Kid.
Yeah, it was Dynamite Kid's move.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Because Benoit.
Dynamite Kid. I said Davey Boy Smith. My bad.
You're right, though. You're right, because they were a tag team. So
they were both doing it, but Davey Boy, he's the one that kind of really brought it over. Yeah. And everybody wanted to start doing it. Yeah,
most definitely did, Glenzer. And Raquel, what's going on, Raquel? Welcome.
Welcome.
But yeah, man, I mean, it's sad when that stuff happens, and I mean, again, it's weird shit like that can happen, but then when you find out the actual facts, then it just goes quiet and you don't hear anything else.
Yeah,
I think I saw a later documentary where they brought Chris's other son and his wife's sister together because they hadn't talked in so long.
I saw that too, man.
I thought that was great, man. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really cool that they WWE Vince or whoever helped them get back in touch, so that they could talk.
It wasn't them. I forgot who it was, but no, WWFE, whatever. They didn't have anything to do with it. Someone else got them together. I forgot who it was though.
I thought it was somebody behind the scene, but either way, it was really nice to see the family reunion. I enjoyed that documentary.
Yep, that was good.
So I want to do something a little bit different here for a change. And ETEP, since you were the man that was wrestling on the indie circuit, I want to go around the panel and have everybody ask you something that they want to know about wrestling that maybe they don't know. So I want to start this one. So did the boys on the indie circuit, did they have a court? I'd seen it mentioned in the chat earlier. Did they have a wrestling court in the indie circuit?
Well, locker room, we didn't much have not like the Bone Street crew, but there's a definite hierarchy in every locker room, and it's usually pretty static across like in Michigan anyway. It was with like the promotions I worked at, because I worked with a lot of the same guys. So and being like, I started out like, having to sit with all the rookies and everything when I was like 27, and to where like at the end, I was one of like the OGs in the locker room who all the rookies wanted to sit with. But we all sat, like my whole like stable, which there was like what eight of us at one point. We all sat together. I as soon as I came in, I took all these guys, who's all in the stable. It's all right, we're sitting together. Come with, and I made them. I said, bring your shit. We're all sitting back here in the corner. I said we sit together. We give the appearance of live the gimmick. That's what I said. So, but yeah, if somebody screwed up, I mean, you'd have to deal with one of the locker room captains, and it was Yeah, I mean, nothing real. We never did anything real. It was never real severe punishments, but I mean, there was, basically rules like, hey, don't if somebody's fucking a rat, you leave that rat alone, and unless they're done with her, or, don't fuck with the boy, don't mess with anybody's wife or girlfriend. I mean, shit like that, and don't purposely hurt anybody in the ring. You do shit like that, then you're gonna go out back and you're gonna catch some live rounds, and you better take it. But I never saw anything come to that. I saw a couple, skirmishes, but it was over shit that went bad during matches mostly. Guy botch a spot or work a little bit snug, and the other party didn't quite handle it properly, and it's a few push and shove. I never really saw any all out Donnybrooks. I was lucky there, but I mean there was one time, like, my buddy Manny, he was gonna stab two of the other guys that ran a promotion in Flint because they talked shit about him like 6-8 months before that to one of his cousins. And I was like, dude's Mexican. You can't talk to anybody in Saginaw and have it not get back to Manny, because every time we go to a show, he walks in, Tio, Tia, Primo, Prima. I'm like, you're related to everybody, aren't you? But seriously though, like, this dude ran his mouth to one of his cousins. Manny's like, he told his boy Bobby, goes, get the car started. He's like, why? He goes, because if Hades or Joe Bird says anything to me, I'm gonna fucking stab them both. I'm like, and he legit had a shank at every show. And this dude did. He's 6'2", 295 pound, like, big ass cholo, dude. This man he's a big man, like. He worked the security at Saginaw Arthur Hill High School, or Buena Vista, I'm sorry, which is the ghetto high school in Saginaw. But yeah, Manny was a bad motherfucker. But yeah, he was gonna stab these two if they said shit to him in the locker room. And me and the other promoters, because it was my show, we're sitting there going like, holy. Like, oh my God. So Joe and Hades are coming back through the curtain. So I run out. I'm the booker. I run out and meet them when they come back through, and kept them away from Manny because they got there when he was out cutting a promo at the beginning of the show, and we're able to keep them separated in the locker room till, like, Manny was like, they walked up and tried to shake his hand. He slapped a hand away, and I was like, oh no. Oh no. Because, when you get there, it's like you shake everybody's hand. If you don't, it's considered a slight. So, and yeah, it was just that was the closest I ever came to seeing anything. But man, he's like, I'm like, oh no, please don't, not at my show. I was like, I got to pay insurance on this building. Like, I don't need this. I don't need this.
All right, Jens, is there anything you want to ask ETEP?
Well, I don't know. No, apart from Trish Stratus's phone number. But, yeah, you haven't got Trish.
What's her number, Eta?
Trish Stratus's number? I don't have her number. I wish. My wife might not like that too much. I can hook you up with Sonny.
It's all professional.
I can hook you up with Sonny's OnlyFans, but
Tony, I'm sure you probably already picked his brain previously, but is there anything else you wanted to ask her?
I mean, I've got my own theory, but what do you think the driving force is behind the cultural shift in the wrestling industry, from going from the outlaws and the real alpha males and stuff to these betas that have kind of taken over everything, just like everywhere else? I mean, but wrestling is just such a...
I never thought I'd see that.
Yeah.
It is a man's sport. You're absolutely right. And what is the I mean, it's the root cause where it is everywhere else. You get these wrestling, dude, it used to be you were either going to make it or you weren't. There wasn't no, well, we'll give you, it's like these are the participation trophy people that are getting in to the business now. Oh my God. If I know who Jade Cargill is, I follow her on Instagram. She should be playing Storm on the in the MCU.
That guy we were looking at yesterday on
Yeah,
Danny's stream.
on my stream last night. Yeah. Chris, you sent it over. He's like, you got to see her.
I
She's
will
like Jade Cargill, but better, dude.
I will pay Jade Cargill to spit on me and just step on me in stilettos, like, and I'm not joking. Like,
No, he's not.
straight
He's
up.
serious, people.
I am. She can say the most demeaning things to me.
What's up, Splasher? And I've seen also CJH has stopped in. What's going on, CJH? And Bruce Lombardo of Dick's Division. What's up, Bruce? It's all true.
What's up?
All of Texas is related to Mexico. At ETEP, if you're a gringo like me, they will pull you aside and teach you the most used word in Spanish.
A la verga.
A la verga.
Yeah, see, I wasn't even going to attempt that one. I'm not familiar with that word, so I'm not going to butcher it.
But no, Tony, I do. I think it's the participation trophy. Generally, that's it's found its way into the wrestling business, and it's an infection. And once they're there, we had guys like this. The dude that owns the promotion where I worked is like a white BLM like cuck, like straight up, like he is. He absolutely, like, it was laying down on the street with an "I can't breathe" thing over his mouth, like.
Baby.
I only do that on my channel. I won't do that on anybody else's channel.
like I care. Have you heard some of the things I've said at YouTube? Have you not my YouTube video? I
have. Out of courtity, I usually withhold the St. Floyd of fentanyl, baby. Oh yeah, he hated me, especially around 2016 during the election.
Did he offer Booker T a foot massage?
This is the thing. So me and my tag partner, we had this other buddy who was my tag partner was a Marine, and we knew this other cat, this black dude named Darrell Mitchell from Detroit, and we were going to bring him into our stable and make him like another member of Team Ratings. And John's like, no, I don't want any outsiders. And we're like, what? Like, and this dude is woke as hell, and we're like, oh, and we're in the locker room, like, we were fucked up, we were messing around, and we're like, it's because he's black, isn't it? And John was like, no, that's not it. And we're like, oh, okay, all right, dude. So you're just, this whole thing is just, we said this whole thing is just an act, right? You're just playing like, no, it's not that. We like to keep everything in house. I'm like, what? And a couple months later, they're bringing in like Congo Kong and a couple other these dudes, and it's like, wait a minute, like, we wanted to do it. It was, it was like, but it was funny watching him react though. And he's one of those people that just like should have never been in the business because he acts like he's a male feminist, and some of the shit he did to the rats back in the day.
It's a compensation.
Hey, what's up, Shellback? Shellback says, Stiletto and Spit Kink confirmed.
Normally, I don't like that kind of the spit, but it's just her in particular. I don't know. She just looks like she'd be like ice cold, and I like that.
Bruce has a question for you.
Ice cold.
Would you give your tag partner a foot massage?
I did wear his wrestling boots in my very first singles match. So I feel like I kind of have already.
That ain't the same thing. You can catch his athlete's foot, but he's asking if you would massage his feet.
No. No, I wouldn't. I loved him, but I didn't love him.
I feel like the Civil War was enough, No.
You love him, but you weren't in love with him.
Yeah, that's it. Like, I love you, man, but I'm not.
If you did, you'd have to change your name to Jesus Wakuin and the People's Table Flippers. So, Adam, do you have any questions you want to ask him?
So this is just going to be a technical one, but for you, what is one of the worst bumps you ever ended up taking when you were wrestling?
Oh, that's easy. I was given Woke Boy a fall away rude awakening neck breaker over 2 steel chairs, and we set the chairs up too close to the ropes, and we were working a 14x14 ring, and he's 6'3" and I'm 6'3", so you do the math. There wasn't a lot of space. And to keep him a little bit safer, I took the brunt of one of the chairs to the back of my head, and I went down, like, and I couldn't even no-sell it. I like rolled over and was gripping my head up, and I popped out of the ring, and I was supposed to get my bat from under the ring and go in and work him over with the bat. And I had to sit there, and we had these twins in our stable, Alex and Andrew Steele, and they're great guys, but their character was like a little and they're like, Pete, come on, Pete, get up. And I was like, I'm laying down, like I got my bat and I'm kneeling on the ground. I was like, fuck off for a minute. I'm like, I can't see, hang on, and oh yeah, but my bell rung for a while. That one took a little while to get over.
I see Raquel's leaving the chat, and usually I tell everybody be well when they leave, but goddamn, this just rhymes so good. I'm going to have to say it. Be well, Raquel.
Oh yeah. Well, I know you wouldn't let Sabu put you through a table, and I mean you've mentioned that numerous times, and I can't fault it. But you've never ever told us like the worst bumpy. So thank you, because I was kind of wondering about that since Tommy lined it up. Thank you, Tommy.
No problem. I mean, that's what we're here for. We're here to have a little fun, have a little discussion, talk about the wrestling aspects of it, and then we're going to get into more of the merchandising stuff. I know ETEP has already started to show off some of that stuff. He can't wait. Vinny, was there any questions you wanted to ask ETEP before we move into the merchandising aspect?
Yeah, did you ever break a bone in the ring? Like, something really nasty or hard to do and nothing like that? Knock
on wood. I worked, and I've told you guys, I was fucked up every match I ever worked. I never, that's probably why I never broke anything or never got injured. You
were very relaxed.
I was, man. I worked a very controlled style. Like I wouldn't, I was at my peak, I'm 6'3", but I was 245 pounds. I wasn't running around doing a lot of flips and shit, because I was one of the big guys. So I'd use rest holds, power moves, shit like that. I did one elbow drop off the top rope and I missed it, which was fine. I was selling it anyway because I was a heel. So that was the only time I ever went off the ropes, was the second rope with the elbow. I never did any of that shit. I knew I could, because at that point I could do a standing fucking backflip and land on my feet, but I didn't want to do it. I did it because they made us do that shit in training, especially me, because the motherfuckers knew I was scared of doing it. So they made me do it more. And I hate it. So I never did anything like that in the ring.
That's the other question I was going to ask you too. What was it like the scariest movie that you did in the ring that you were like, no chairs, but I'm just saying, just craziest move, and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to do this, or you got scared of it, like
the Tower of Doom suplex. With like there was we were working the fucking little guys. So it was me, James, like he had the little dude up on the top rope or second rope, and then I came up under him and suplexed both of them back.
Oh shit.
There was and me and James are drunk, and these two little fucking munchkins are all yoked out of their mind on Tony Montana. So this yeah, dude, like
so what you're saying is this is why Walton is extra respectful every time he's around you.
Yeah, he knows I throw midgets.
Oh my god!
But yeah, so everybody in this match, we were all just fucked. And James gets up, and we're in there. He goes top rope. He goes Tower of Doom, and I'm like, are you fucking serious? Like in the middle of the ring, I'm like, are you fucking serious? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right. So he takes a little shit up to the top. I pop up, and I was like. He's like, I want you to lift. He's like, lift. I'm like, fuck you. And I just threw him backwards and landed. I was like, I don't want your dumb ass falling on me and crushing me.
Holy hell. That's pretty hilarious.
I didn't do, I'm trying to think what the hell. I killed one of them outside the ring. I was on my knees, and one of the little shits came running around, and I clotheslined him right on the fucking concrete. And I hit him as hard as I could. Like, I mean, I threw, because he was running full speed, and he knew I was gonna hit him. I don't think he knew how hard, and like I turned him inside out. Like he literally flipped. I'm glad he landed on his stomach, because I fucking just railed him.
Chris Fish says ETEP was limp and never got injured. Meanwhile, his sober opponents are all human pretzels and still in traction.
Proudly never injured anybody in the ring, never once. Nice. Like I said, I worked controlled, man. Even when I did my, because I used the Razor's Edge, or I call it the Outsider's Edge, is my finisher to set up the fall away slam. we did one nasty. Okay, so a triple team spot. Actually, we took this kid A Wicked, who he's a good worker. We threw him. Me and James laid 2 chairs out, and we had JJ standing in front of the chairs. We Irish whipped Adam off the ropes, pressed him up, and JJ hit the fucking diamond cutter on top of the chairs in the middle of the ring on him. Nice. Out of our fucking it was nasty. Because there was no good way to take that bump. They both come down on them chairs.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was that was fun. Shit, we did a double fall-away slam to this one fucking kid, almost threw him out of the ring. I mean, it was, what the hell did I do to? The one kid, I didn't even fucking tell him. He thought he was going to take the razor's edge, and I jackknife powerbombed him. He was a little fucktard though, so I didn't feel bad. I kicked him in the nuts, and I literally kicked him in the nuts, and he was like 5'6", about 170 pounds. He was a stout little fucker, so it took a little bit. So I gripped him up around the waist, and I went right up and I said, "Fuck it," and I just dropped him. I said, "He's good. He'll land on his back." And I just fucking let him fall. The crowd was like, "God damn!" I'm like, "Yep." Yep, we were down. And it was in the ring it was in my old ring too. So that fucker was stiff. Like I thought I killed him. I did. I was like, I just got out of the ring. I just walked out after that. That was it, because it wasn't even a match. Like, he came out when we were cutting a promo and interrupted us, and me and James like kind of beat on him for a minute, and I said, all right, kicked him in the nuts and just pulled him in. And I was like, pop, just dropped him. We're like, fuck it, he's dead. Let's leave.
You know who else is 5'6"?
The tree hugger.
Yeah. He was on last time. We had a good conversation over on my stream.
Yeah, I know. I only busted his balls a handful of times.
Yeah, you did. And I mean, he says he's 5'6", but he's really 3'4".
Yeah, we know that.
He was stretching a lot. Like when turtles are like trying to come out of their shell and they're stretching their necks out. That's what he was doing the whole time, trying to make himself look bigger.
Yeah, he's everyone keeps. They think that he's just a garden gnome, but he's not. He's Papa Smurf.
So all the amazing wrestling conversation we've had already. I know, ETEP, that you got your show tonight at 8:30, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so before you wind up having to jet out here, I want to get into a little bit of discussion about the merchandise that all these different wrestling promotions that have wound up spawning. It really wasn't just one company alone, even though WWF wound up being the one that really took control of it eventually and really made the market universal. Every other company was getting into it to some small degree. And we were talking about some of the figures they put out. So I actually have a small clip of some of the things that I still have that I want to show off real quick and see what you guys think about it. So today we will be talking about wrestling figures. In 1984, LJN had picked up the license for WWF and created these big rubber non-posable figures like this junkyard dog one that I still have. And in 1991, Hasbro wound up getting the licensing to create WWF superstars that were a bit different than the ones that came before, because these ones all had action features, like many other action figures at that time were incorporating into their lines to make them a little bit more exciting. I originally had a lot more in my collection than what I have right now. Unfortunately, a lot of them are just gone. But I do still have some of my favorite characters, such as the Ultimate Warrior, Papa Shango, Rick Rude, Jake the Snake, and of course, The Undertaker. And of course, over the years, the WWF, WWE would have a slew of different merchandising. And one of the odd ones that I do still have in my collection is this Undertaker that used to be on a Slurpee straw. Some of the other figures that I still have in my collection are from Jakks Pacific. Now, Jakks Pacific actually took over WWF licensing in 1995. I do have a 1998 Jakks Pacific figure. This one looks pretty bad. The only redeeming quality of this one is its signature series, so it has the Undertaker signature on the leg. 1999 wasn't much better, but 2000 they started to get it right and they actually look like the wrestlers. Now, along with that, I do have a couple of WCW products, but that is pretty much all I still have.
Nice, man.
Yeah, I wish I would have had all the rest of them. I actually had so many of those 1991 Hasbro figures that I actually wound up getting doubles and triples, and I started painting them up like the NWO. Like I had Macho Madness and Hollywood Hogan. I had the Scott Hall one done up as the Outsiders. Yeah, so much fun those figures were. And when they had re-released them, like I think it was like maybe 5 years ago or maybe less. Maybe it was only 3 years ago. They started re-releasing those same type of figures by Hasbro, and they had like AJ Styles and Roman Reigns, Ambrose, Rollins. Like they had all those figures, and I was looking at them, and I was ready to get them, and I never pulled the trigger on. And I'm kind of pissed at myself that I didn't at least pick up a few of them because they reminded me so much of that particular style. Like a lot of the other ones were shit though.
Yeah, they were. My cousin, that was his thing. He had all of those 91. And then he started doing the customization ones. You know, again, wrestlers who they came in the scene afterwards or whatever, and you know they weren't making those figures anymore. He did it all. He had them all. It was like an army of these things. But yeah, when I was a kid, I used to have like a shit ton of them as well. You know, all of the main roster in the 80s and again that early 90s period.
Oh, lovely Sherry's out of here too. Or no, you're saying goodbye to Sherry. I'm sorry. Hey, what's going on? Ship to Gizm, that purple Hasbro Warrior is super rare. Is it really? I have no clue. It's just sitting in the collection. It got pulled out of the mounds of stuff at my dad's house, and I was actually shocked it was in one piece. So, all right. So I have one other small one. I actually went back looking for more shit, and I found some more of the old LGN ones. You might appreciate this one. And to continue our talk on wrestling and wrestling figures, of course, found some more of these LGN ones, which I didn't find initially, so I did get this prepared for today's show. So we got Jimmy Snuka, got Axe from Demolition, Macho Man Randy Savage, got Hulk Hogan and another Hulk Hogan here with his belt still on and his leg twisted up. Got Jake the Snake with his snake. Nikolai Volkov, I know I've seen his hat somewhere, but I couldn't find it for this one. The Iron Sheik, which I believe he came with an Intercontinental belt. And we got Roddy Piper. Unfortunately, he's got a bit of a twisted leg, something I'm going to have to heat up and fix later, but he still has his kilt on. Nice collection of some of those old LGN figures. And one other oddball that we still have, this is the same thing like the Undertaker's from Maximum Sweat 2. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Sweat Pumps Action. Still in its original box. Interesting stuff. There's the Undertaker that I have. Mine I got loose, so I didn't have the tombstone with him. Pretty interesting set. And there's some of the other figures that they had out at the time. From the Muscle line of figures. Yeah, Muscle. This was actually a championship belt for the figures. And when you pop the cap off, there was actually a little wrestling ring that sat in the middle of the belt.
Dude, those LJN figures are fucking beautiful.
Yeah, man, that takes me back.
I love. Like I said, I've got Hogan, Hillbilly Jim, and Macho Man. I sold my JYD. I sold all those Hasbro ones I had. I've got. Let's see here. I've got.
It's good to see the JYD again.
That's the one I sold.
With the chain too.
Yeah, with the chain. Yeah, bro. Definitely. Yeah. Very nice.
I got the Kevin Nash and Perry Saturn, who was actually like one of my favorites from ECW when he was with Cronus and they were the Eliminators. But yeah, there's Nash. Nash does his figure does the power bomb. And this one's kind of cool. He's got the arms and just.
There goes his quad.
Yeah, but wait, I do have an Owen Hart figure. Hang on, he'll make. He'll make. Look, wait, here comes Owen. Here comes Owen. Ah!
Son of a
I
bitch!
hope somebody was recording that. We'll never see it again.
There's
Son of a bitch!
Owen, are you
His head split open just like my barbecue sauce.
split open like a bottle of Jim Ross's good old barbecue sauce. Get you some of that. But yeah, there's the Owen Hart figure.
The Nation one.
Yep.
Little
We got
I thought they did make the other one Slasher. Or am I thinking about the 91 figures?
They made. I had the Demolition for the 91s. They made those in the Hasbro figures.
So they only made Axe for the old LJN?
Yeah, it didn't make sense why they only had Axe, because they came in at the same time.
Yeah, that is weird.
But yeah, we got the two Austin figures from 96 and 97. He's got his bad to the bone, and this one's got like the bionic redneck.
Yeah.
I got a couple of rocks. Yeah, got a couple of these guys. They're both doing the people's eyebrow. One looks like he's just having a stroke. I don't know.
He took after Jim Ross.
He is. And here's
the Rock couldn't come in to do the scanning of his face, so they brought in Jim Ross.
Jim Ross.
He
looks the
called me on
same.
my barbecue sauce.
It's going on the battle.
Is
Yeah,
that
there's
Candace Michelle?
That is Candace
Oh,
Michelle
Hillbilly
right there.
Jim. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Rob,
I
there's-
remember these things. We
Do you
had
remember
Roddy.
they had the little wrestling ring where you put your thumb underneath
Yep.
it into
Yeah.
the wrestler?
Yep.
that was awesome.
I have. Let's see. Wait. Where the hell did Gangrel go? Where'd that little shit go?
Dude, that muscles
I got-
belt was awesome.
I got
Maximum
Austin.
Sweat figures look like Rob Zombie approved.
Yeah.
Right?
That's I never got any of those because I was like, man, these just look weird.
Yeah,
Here's the
that's
last
like-
two I got. That's Gilberg
Nice.
Goldberg.
and Billy Gunn. Yeah, and he's an ass man. But yeah, that's and I don't know. I must have dropped him. He's around here somewhere. But I have.
Oh, Chris, they
Gangrel
did have
Austin and a
WWF
little
muscle.
Austin, and here's the $1 million belt from the Hasbro figure for the
yeah.
Ted DiBiase. But yeah, so when Trey and I play at the wrestling figures, they fight over the $1 million belt.
Yeah, I used to have that DiBiase figure. I think he just did a stupid punch too, like the Papa Shango, and then, yeah.
Yep. That was the one thing, dude. I liked the look of the figures. It would have been better if they were more like these ones right here, like these Jax figures, because it was like their arms were like stuck in like one position. That's all you could do. Like Hulk Hogan and Warrior both had to slam. Macho Man did like an elbow or like a punch or
Well,
something.
no, they had two Hogans. They had one Hogan where he did the flex thing.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I had the one where he was wearing the yellow shirt, Hulk
Right,
rules,
and he had the over,
headband.
and you pulled the arms back, and it
Yep.
like throwing
Like-
them forward.
It was
Yeah,
like
the other one
that.
he was doing that gorilla pose. You know?
Just gorilla press,
Yep.
just like this Warrior, just like that.
Yeah.
Because this one
And-
is from what 90? This is 91. This was one of the second Warriors they made. Because I had the original one.
Yeah, Tommy's right.
Go ahead.
The Hogan, he was doing like the big flex that
Yep.
he did. So like you could pull back his arms and like he would punch his own fist type of gimmick that they did on it, which is weird.
Yeah, I can't remember. I know they did WWF, but I don't remember if they did any other wrestling organizations. I don't think they did. I know they did have some WWF in Muscle
That's cool.
because they were doing a bunch of like crossovers. They had like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't remember if they had. Oh God, what else was it? Because there was a bunch of different ones that they were doing for Muscle because Muscle was like really big at the time. So yeah, Saturn. They had some beef, huh?
Oh, Mike Bell was your neighbor? Yeah, Saturn fucking dropped him on his head.
So yeah, here you go, Tommy. I actually met the Undertaker. He signed this. It was back when he did a thing at Meijer, the grocery store. I think one of his kids was playing for Notre Dame.
Cool.
And then there's the 3 signature series because I've got the Hawk Stone Cold from number 1.
I used to have that TV guide, and it was a few wrestlers that they came out with. It was a collector's thing.
Yep.
Yep.
I've got all those. I'm missing the Undertaker one. I had it because I took it with me when he met when my son got to meet him again. Of course, the belt is one of the newer versions that they had done because they didn't really have belts a lot when my kids were younger. And then I've got my belts, of course, that I've picked up recently that I'm enjoying. Of course, we've got the $1 million belt there. Yes, it's very
That is
pretty.
beautiful.
The NWO belts as well. And I know, Tommy, I know how much you love the Migos. So, I made sure they were in the shot.
I do like Migos.
But yeah, I mean, I'm running out of wall space already for titles. Didn't take long, but yeah, that's all the newer stuff that I've got, and I've got a ton of T-shirts when it comes to like merch and stuff. That's it. I've got some of the original Austin shirts and stuff we got. One of the last times I came to Notre Dame that we went, the program basically was that month's magazine, which I still have, and I've got the actual I want to say 98. I'm kind of saving it for when Tony gets there in the Monday night retrospective to bust it all out. But I've shared the photos with the guys before on the show. I've got like my son wearing an NWO shirt with Hollywood Hogan in the background on the TV, and just silly chairs stacked up next to the TV because we were going to have a party because it was close to his birthday. But yeah, I mean, wrestling was a big part, still is. Mm-hmm. But through all my kids, I would take them to any event that I could. Because Notre Dame was the closest place for us to go other than like Indianapolis. The only Monday Night Raw I went to, I think was 2016, was in Indy because I won tickets on the air from the radio station, WRBR The Bear. So like that's the only Monday Night Raw I ever went to, and I hadn't been decade and a half probably, if not 2 decades was the last time I'd been to a wrestling event. So because I didn't really come around here much.
What's up, Tommy?
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Slasher?
It's one of those that I miss.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah. What's
up, Jan?
So we're already in the merchandising section of this one. You didn't have anything, did you, Slasher? You want to show off, or?
Well, everything I have is in boxes right now, so I don't really have to show off. But I do have a lot. I have a shit ton of the muscle figures, and I have these. These ones are a little more rare because it was I know you know this one, Tommy, when Remco started putting out the AWA figures.
Yeah,
they actually started making tiny muscle size figures too. It's like they have like the Road Warriors and like old school Scott Hall when he had the porno stash, shit like that.
Yep. Big Scott Hall.
Yeah, the Rockers, Larry Zbyszko, like it was like 1986 era AWA.
Awesome.
And for some reason they threw Ric Flair in there. I don't know why they threw Ric Flair in there because that motherfucker was NWA.
Oh, didn't he float around in between some of those organizations sometimes too?
Well, because he used to defend the NWA belt everywhere. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I'm missing one of the fucking Road Warriors. God damn it! I'm missing Animal. I had the whole set except for Animal.
Oh, there's something that I found. Tommy, you might be interested in this. Looks like it came out November of 2020. So almost, close to 2 years ago, whatever. But have you seen these? And would you be interested in them? Did Masters of the Universe?
Oh,
I
yeah,
did see them. I did see them.
Those are pretty dope.
I seen them. I wasn't that interested in them. I don't know. I thought the gimmick was funny. Yeah. I thought it was interesting because they had did something like with Grayskull being a ring or something.
Yeah, there's a snake ring too. There's a ring where there's like the snake heads, like the swivel mounted snake heads are on the turn posts.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, because I was looking up some stuff. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, I remember for the longest time, the only ones I could find at Walmart to even just look at in the store was the Roman Reigns one.
Okay. Well, I've never seen them. It's the first time I've seen them on Google. But yeah, there was his
the Sergeant Slaughter one has the man at arms armor.
Oh yeah, cool.
Okay, real quick. I know ETEP already had the jet because he's got his show coming up in about a half hour, so he had to get prepared. So Tony's got to bounce out too because he's going over there. Vinny,
Yes,
I know
same.
you're heading over there as well. So let's give you guys a moment and go ahead and.
You know me, but I don't remember smelling you before. Who are you and where do you come from?
So go ahead, Tony, you're first.
That was awesome. Yeah, number one, just thank you guys. It was great talking some retro wrestling, some old school wrestling. It's always a blast. You can catch me over at the Clown World Review every Monday and Wednesday over at ETEP's channel, ETEP Akulian's Place to Be Reviews, where we basically talk about everything in the world of entertainment, pop culture, and sometimes veer off and talk about social issues as well, because damn it, we just can't help it. Come check us out tomorrow if you enjoy the wrestling talk. Over on my channel, the Clown World Review, we do the Monday Night War retrospective, 8 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow's also my birthday, so we're going to be celebrating that. And yeah, again, thank you to the chat. Thank you, everyone on the panel. It was a pleasure. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the next time we can get together and talk some retro stuff, some old school pop culture from back before,
Before it
the
went
bad
bad.
guys took over.
Every week, like I always said, this is why I invited all you guys into that chat for the ETEP's back. Awesome. That's why I invited you all into that chat, because I know you know this stuff as much as I do, and or as close, and you have as much passion for it as I do. And it's the one thing that I think a lot of channels miss out on. And we get so focused, a lot of us, and a lot of these other channels, on the negative aspects. We forget about why we're even fighting against these people to begin with. And that's why I like to sit down and discuss some of these things from years past and just have a blast talking about them, because that's really what's important. And I mean, how can you fight for something and claim you want to protect it if you're not even focusing on that first and you're just worried about the hate? So you got to start from the place of love first. So, Vinny, go ahead and talk about Shadow of the Kraken, and then after that, we'll get the ETEPs. You guys can roll up on out of here and get prepared for your show.
Yeah, dude, I'll keep it short too, man. But yeah, Pirate Book is almost finished. I'm working on. I'm painting the last couple of pages. Got a new acrylic standee on the campaign as well, so go check that out. My other books, again, they ship immediately. So that's Through the Woods, City of Venus, the art books. Get them all. You're going to love them. And and check me out over on my YouTube channel as well, at Vinny Art. We do some great toy reviews over there. We have great streams on the Fridays and the Sundays. And there's going to be more art classes too coming up this year. Like I said, as soon as I'm done with this project and I start working on City of Venus too, I'll start getting some more art classes out there for you guys and girls as well. But man, thank you, chat. You guys are awesome on panel. It's always a blast.
Always, absolutely. You know what, ETEP, since you come back in, I'm going to have to play this segment again one more time just for you, right before you give your outro.
You know me, but I don't remember smelling you before. Who are you and where do you come from?
Oh, shit.
I'm a Jewish princess.
Oh, man. Thank you for having me, bro. This has been fun. This has been a blast. You can catch me over at ETEP Akulian's The Place to Be Reviews. I review Batwoman and I hate myself. I actually did a Batwoman video today because that was number 80. So yeah, you can check that out. And in about 20 minutes, we'll be live over on my channel. Myself, Tony, Vinny, and Red Gaze. The Four Horsemen of Monday nights. We'll have the Monday Night Going in Raw for you. We're going to be debuting a new quiz game tonight. Do you know me? How well does our chat know the four panel members? We're going to get intimate, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get intimate with each other. So we might play some Barry White, little Cavatier, But yeah, you can catch me over there Monday night, 8:35 Eastern. Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. Myself and Tony have Wednesday night live at the place to be. And yeah, I'm on Drew's stream over on Supreme Heretics channel Tuesday nights at 6:40. I'll be on Jesse Milestone's channel tomorrow night. I was invited on there earlier as a makeup because Jeff felt bad he couldn't make it on my 1K stream last week. You can catch the replay. We watched John Carpenter's Vampires, had a good time, talked. But yeah, I do videos usually all week. Thursday and Friday are dedicated to Batwoman, though, because it takes me 2 days of mental anguish and torture to put one of those reviews out, and I suffer for you guys. So thank you, Tommy, for having me on. Panel, you guys are all awesome. Jens, it was nice meeting you. Slasher McSplitter, nice meeting you too. Chat, hail to all of you, and thank you, Tommy. Appreciate it, brother.
No, thank you for coming on. I mean, it's we had such a blast the last time talking about G.I. Joe and all the action figures, and
Yeah,
I knew
man.
when I was getting into the big wrestling topic again, I know me and Slasher had one almost about a year and a half ago. I knew you guys would like to get on this one, and I definitely wanted to have you on here for this one. So, no, thank you. Thank you,
Dude.
all three of you. All four of you. All five of you. All six of you. I love you.
I have seven of those hiss tanks now.
Wow.
Underneath
I
here.
can't even find one in the stores.
I'm gonna go back.
When you had the first one, brother. That's the best thing. Watching you put it together.
I'm gonna go back and buy the last two at Walmart. I saw those on the other day when I was in there. I was like, I'm gonna come back and buy these because all the figures were gone. There was just two hiss tanks up on the top shelf. I'm like,
wow,
I'm coming back for these. So
E-Tab's calling around to all the different stores. Like, yeah, do you know where this guy Vinny lives? I want a store near him to make sure I get all those his tanks.
Yep, I'll make sure Vinny can get it. I'm coming to buy them out. All right,
Nazi.
thanks, y'all. See ya.
All right, take care, y'all.
Later,
Thank you.
Good to know.
All right, and so
I better jump too. Sorry.
yeah, no problem, Vinny, no problem.
All right,
you can
guys.
stay for as long as you want or run as quick as you want.
Yeah. No, I better get going because I got to take care of something else right before I jump on. But yeah, man.
don't be
Thanks,
late.
guys. Yeah, great
right.
seeing you.
All right, take care, Vinny.
Yeah, have a good one.
Yeah, so I mean, we're talking about all those different figures and all the different. I actually had some more stuff that I had filmed, but I filmed it so late because I lost track of time. And the funny thing is I had everything prepared for the stream yesterday. I was actually ahead of schedule. I had actually scheduled this stream a day ahead, which I almost never have a chance to do. And then last minute, I was like, oh, I forgot about this, and I wanted to film it real quick. And then I looked at time, and I was like, oh shit, I only got 15 minutes before the stream. And Yen's like, hey, where's the link? Where's the link? I said, I know, I'm running late.
Fucking Hulk Hogan bubble bath.
Yeah.
That's what you brought up.
Yeah. Because I was a bit too old for when like the WWF figures came to the UK and that. I remember seeing them and that, and I was thinking, oh yeah. But like there was one time where I think there was reduced to like £1.50 sort of thing, and so my nana got me the Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior bubble bath for like £3, and there was bubble bath in it and all, or like bubble crystals anyway. That, like,
Is the bubble bath made out of steroids?
yeah, yeah. I like that's how I like got my physique, because I just nicked it.
I can't believe you're not using it, Jens. I thought for sure you would say this will make you a real man.
No,
Getting
it
in
got
some
used.
Hulk Hogan bubble bath.
Yeah, it got used. I don't know if I've still got the Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan bubble bath sort of bottles, but I definitely haven't got the bubble bath, because the bubble bath got used to like these little crystal bubble baths. I think Minella used it, but I didn't have the Batman one though. I only had the Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan one.
Nice.
No, what's going on? Dead Punk Gage, I seen you jumped in the chat, and I seen Parrot Head had jumped in earlier. I know I didn't have a chance to say hi. And Small Time Republic, what's going on? Yeah, it is such a good reminder. Was Macho Man's made of Slim Jims? Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, look at that.
I've got the Savage Slim Jim display sitting next to me.
Do you?
Yeah, just with the that held the actual Savage Slim Jims. I during the pandemic when I bought the box at Menards, I took the damn display box. I was like, "Yeah, you gonna get any more of these in?" They're like, "Well, we don't know." I'm like, I just grabbed the whole box and bought all of it, including the box. I was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna keep it in this. Don't touch it."
Yeah, apparently there was a Sergeant Slaughter one, but I think that was like in America in '86 and all. So
yeah, with the height of the Rock and Wrestling, you would assume that they would have a lot more than that, though.
Oh, dude, yeah. Again, though, merchandising, they weren't as good as they are today. They didn't really think of that stuff. I don't think. I mean, they have certain stuff, but yeah, we've got the. Because step into a Slim Jim. Gotcha, buddy.
I remember the like stuffed dolls, like little teddy things. Do you remember that?
Wrestling buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah, we mentioned that earlier, Jens. You missed it.
All right. Yeah. It was like went past me. I was hard being like, oh yeah.
I know why it went past. At least I'm assuming.
Are you high?
Yeah. Well, I've got it now, though. I've got it now.
But yeah, because when I was at the house, I found both of the ones my brother had because he had both the Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior one.
Nice.
Both of them are completely intact. Like I thought for sure those things would have been ripped up and stuffing would have been flying at them. No, they're completely intact. A little dirty, but intact.
Well, they're pillows, man. You just throw them in a washer for the most part. Yeah. Brent from the UK, the Jawa that I do the streams with, he sent Nathan a John Cena one and a Sheamus one because that's what he had found. But yeah, I remember the Macho King. They had the Macho King one, and I always wanted that one, but never got it.
I like the Big Boss Man one.
But yeah, I mean, my kids had those. They'd play with them, Oh yeah.
No, I can't remember. Didn't they have like some kind of talking feature to them?
Nah, not that I remember.
Not the originals, no.
No.
That might have been something they did later down the line, but
see, I see the Road Warriors ones. I never saw those ones in the store.
I neither. I think
scrolling through these is the Road Warriors, but I never saw those.
For the grandson, we got The Rock, which was a couple years back, and I think that one might have talked. Like the newer ones probably do.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, that'd be the one. I'm pretty sure he might talk.
Yeah.
Tommy, is that an Undertaker tattoo on your forearm?
Well, yes, it is.
Okay. I thought it was.
Yeah, most people missed that. I got that a long time ago.
Yeah, I was a big Undertaker fan too. The first wrestler that this would have been during pre-corporation times, because that's the photo basically was when he got the belt. He was the champ at the time and doing the ministry thing. But my son we went to one of the events and I had on basically my biker boots and I had my feet through the metal guardrails to lean him over. And God bless Mark, as he was going back after his match, he stopped. He passed us. He stopped. He came back and shook my son's hand and then went. So then when he came to Meyer and my son was with me, I told him that story and I said, I just want to thank you for coming back and shaking his hand. And he, because he was in character, he didn't really speak, but I just thanked him and then he signed the autograph and everything. But yeah, it was really, I was a big Undertaker fan as well. So don't have an Undertaker tattoo, but I caught that in the video and I'm like, wait a minute. Pretty sure that's what I saw. Very nice, my friend. Very nice.
Well, there was something about that character that was extremely compelling to me early on. I mean, I've always been into the warrior culture stuff. I mean, you know, I've got tattoos signifying that all over me. I even got a Klingon tattoo on the inside of my right forearm.
Nice.
Right
Well, the
wrist,
Celtic
so.
cross that he would use in some of his videos, you know, for going to the ring. So I mean, it was just always neat. And the character debuted on like my grandmother's birthday, which was funny when he debuted. And it was just like, okay. And you know, when you go back to his debut, he had like one tattoo that you could see, to the point that he gets to the sleeves, and you know, we go from gray to purple, and you know,
see him in WCW as Mean Mark. He had no tattoos.
Yep.
Nope. He was clean.
Yep. So yeah, it was really neat to, you know, if you go back and check out his career and everything, and then at the end of it, you know, it's really good to hear him come out and talk stuff where he's actually able to be social with people after for decades he just stayed doing by himself pretty much, you know, living the character, if you will, like Etep was saying, live the gimmick. So yeah, but yeah, he was one of those that was always fun to watch because, you know, he's a big dude. So it's not every day you see somebody that's, you know, 6'10".
He's actually, I think anyway, that he's the best big man ever in wrestling. Best big man wrestler ever. Like wrestler. Like, yes, because Andre the Giant,
legitimate wrestler. Yeah, because those guys, they had no moves.
Andre the Giant could not move. He was not mobile.
In his day, he was, though, wasn't he?
In his day, yeah, like in like the 70s. I've seen footage of him back when he was kind of slim. You know, he wasn't. He didn't have a big fat ass and a big fat belly. He was slim.
No,
pre WrestleMania days, yeah, like his earlier stuff.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that wasn't the first time Hogan had even slammed Andre.
Yeah,
it happened, but it was at house shows, you know.
And they had a Shea Stadium event. They had an event in the middle of Shea Stadium. Like, I think it was 1980, showdown at Shea. And Hogan was a bad guy. Hogan was the heel.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Really? I'm going to have to look into that, Shifty. I was not aware. I mean, I know that one's actually in pretty decent shape, too. So, I'll have to check that out. That'd be interesting.
Those Hasbro ones, they made doubles of a couple of different guys. Like, I know they made 2 Undertakers. They made 2 Big Boss Man.
Yeah, they had 2 Undertakers. They had 2 Hulk Hogans. They had 2, obviously, 2 Warriors. Yeah.
Did they make 2 DiBiase's? They might have made 2 DiBiase's.
No. I only remember the one. And he had the arm punching action where you just pulled the arm straight back. Yeah.
It was the one in green, right?
No, he was in black. He was all in black. Yeah.
I thought they made
he was all in black, and he came with the little $1 million belt.
And Virgil, you could get Virgil. Because do you remember WrestleMania?
Virgil?
Yeah. Because like they did it because it was that time where at WrestleMania, Ted DiBiase was like giving Virgil loads and going, pick up my belt and all this. And it was that time where Virgil had enough. And then Roddy
Piper was like trying to get Virgil to turn on him. Yeah, I remember that.
I know Etep's getting ready to go live in a few minutes, and I always try to give him the space to run his show and not run over him, and I like to send most of the chat over there. So we're going to wind it down. I definitely want to do this wrestling talk again, though. Slasher, I have to let you know more in advance. I'm sorry. I was actually running behind. I was actually explaining that I actually had another segmented video that I wanted for tonight. And I looked up at the time and seen I was running so late. By the time I actually sent the links out, I think it was only like, maybe 5-10 minutes tops before the show ends. Like, I think it was 5 minutes before the show was supposed to start. I was running so late. But yeah, if you guys want to give some outros, and then I'm going to suggest that everybody run over to see Etep. I don't know if Darius is doing the stream tonight, but if Darius is doing the stream, also stop by and check out Darius. Usually he runs pretty late streams, so you still have time to see Etep and catch Darius. So if somebody with a wrench can actually throw Etep's channel in the chat, I would greatly appreciate it. If not, if you look down in the title description, his channel is pegged down there as well. So, Jens, let everybody know what's going on.
All right. Yeah, I'll hopefully be doing a video, but like I said that last week, and I was a bit ill, and I didn't even do a stream. But hopefully, I'll be doing a stream tomorrow, and a stream on Wednesday. My channel, Jens Penner. It'll be the Bond film on the Wednesday. I've got Twitter. Jens. No, 27A Pedersen. Yeah.
Awesome. Which Bond one you doing this time?
It's the one after Goldfinger. I'll have to have a look.
Who is bigger, Andre the Giant or Giant Baba? Good question.
Wasn't Giant Baba taller?
I'm not 100% sure. I think so, though.
He definitely wasn't fatter, but he might have been taller.
It'll be Thunderball.
What was that?
Thunderball.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
One where bit of a soy ending.
All right, guys. So make sure you step by and check out Jens when he's doing that. Also, stop by and check him out on Twatters too. I don't normally suggest that very often, but do it anyway because that's when you're going to find out when Jens is running his streams. Because that's unfortunately we still have to use Twitter to actually put this stuff out there because that's the easiest medium to actually use to get more people to see what's going on. Because obviously YouTube just doesn't like to use their algorithm for what it's supposed to be used for. Superfan, you got anything going on?
You'll see me in the Place to Be Reviews chat tonight. I'll either be on with Tony and the guys tomorrow for the Clown World Review for the wrestling. Wednesday night, same thing. Place to Be Reviews. I'm always in the chat, and I'm always lurking and working, hitting up with you and Red and trying to do what a super fan does best. Friday, the men's room. Wednesday is Digital Pollution, where myself, a couple of Brits, and this would-be German guy, battle it out over all kinds of stuff generally. But yeah, sometimes an Irishman stops in. But yeah, other than that, it'll be the usuals. I'll be stalking you and doing what I always do because you got to have a little bit of wiener dog hanging out with the guinea pig collective.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Guys, make sure you stop by and give Superfan Adam Shawhan a sub. His link is down below as well if anybody needs to grab it. And Slasher, buddy, it's been a while. I'm glad to get you back up on here again. And like I said, next time we're doing a wrestling talk or if I doing another toy talk that you want to jump in, man, just come through. You know I'm here every week at 6 p.m. and you're always welcome.
Yeah, I got you. Absolutely.
Hey, you got anything going on? You still doing your movie reviews?
Yeah, I took last week off, but this week on Wednesday, I pick a movie. Darius is my co-host, and anyone ask that could come through. Of the 5 people, because I don't pay for StreamYard. Sorry, I'm a cheap ass. But yeah, this week we're gonna be watching Basket Case.
Oh Jesus!
Shitty looking horror movie from 1982. So yeah, we watch the movie and then we go live with a review on it, rip on it, and yeah.
Have
So
fun. My most memorable one is always going to be the one with the Cocaine Ninjas. I love that one. That was so much fun. But everybody in the chat, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it every time you guys come through. Every single one of you. You guys are the best chat on YouTube. Be sure to stop by and check out ETEP, Wakuyan, and the Place to Be Reviews. They should be getting started just momentarily. Darius, if you're running your stream later, or when you're going to run it, put that in the chat as well. Let everybody know what you got going on. His link, I think, is also down in the description too. But thank you so much, guys. And as always, never let anybody tell you what you can and can't say, what you should or should not watch, because your silence gives consent. And we will catch you all next time. Later, y'all.
Later.